Black Alpha Network. Power to the people.
Oh, Black Alpha, say something.
Black Alpha Network.
All right, we're good. I got this recorded.
Oh, it's about to go down. This is a smoke show right here.
All right, let's get it.
We got one of our riders already in here. We waiting on the other one.
Yeah. Yo, man, you got to start doing these a little earlier, bro.
Hey, man, we got a lot of folks on the West Coast, man. It's prime time.
They could listen. They gonna be in traffic anyway on the West Coast. They could listen to it at 5:30.
That's when they listen to it.
No, but we talking about dog. We talking about this is like 9:30. Oh, okay. Will's in the building. Let's get it.
Oh shit. Oh, we loaded up. We rocking. We rocking heavy. Okay. Brother Rich, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Brother Will, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
All right. We just setting up everything. A couple people filing in, man. We already know we're just gonna give it a couple minutes and then we about to get right to it. Pedal to the flow, all gas, no brakes. Everyone who's in the room, if you could share this right now so we get a lot of folks in here. It's going to be a lot of good work today. It's going to be a lot of clean, a lot of real good energy, a lot of real clean certified energy. But it's going to definitely go down tonight.
Yes, sir. And I will be doing the recap tomorrow evening on the channel.
Okay, make sure you send that to me, brother, and I'll go ahead and post that up on my page today so we can get everybody ready.
While they're talking, I will set up this stream and I'll have it during the show. I'll put it in the Jumbotron.
Yes, indeed. I'm saying probably about 2 or 3 more minutes. I got some people DMing me saying they coming, so we're going to get this all locked and loaded, ready for everybody, but we're going to have a real good, clean, healthy debate. You know, it might get a little live, but we all grown. There's no kids in here. This is what it's supposed to be, not prim and proper, but everybody's going to speak their piece. Everyone's going to take their turn, and we're going to say everything that needs to be said, and we're going to have a good, clean one. 2 respectable, honorable brothers. The co-host is solid. I don't want to say contestants. This ain't no damn game show and shit. So I guess the riders, the 2 speakers, all the hosts, we all good. We all certified, and we're gonna get to the facts.
So, is anybody gonna lead to start off with a prayer?
Not me.
Would you mind if I did it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Floor is yours.
Okay. Whoever you guys prayed to, thank you for Black Alpha to set this up. Thank you for him trusting me with this task of being the moderator. I would also like to thank Brother Rich and Brother Will. We know it's busy, we're all adults, and to find time to get the energy together for this. I would like to thank those 2 brothers. And also to the person that you serve. May exchange of ideas be pleasant, not hateful, because we know the white supremacists are going to be listening because they need talking points. And we just also want to say, if you are off code, you can hold your own nuts. In Francis Cress Welson's name, we pray. Everybody say B1.
B1 on this side. All right, we're going to have some questions. We got them all mapped out. They're going to be thorough questions. There's not going to be any loopholes in it. Every question is direct, so every answer is going to be direct. There's nothing funny style going on. Each brother's going to have their chance to speak. Each brother's going to have their chance to have a rebuttal, but everything is going to be clean and to the point. But the main goal is to talk about Black folks getting reparations and any opposing views or anything other than that. But it's all good Black folks in this room having an honest, straight debate, no side swiping. Everything is clean. If you have any questions that you want to ask our two speakers, DM the co-host Queen Alpha. She'll relay them to me, and then we'll get them on. And after we're done with the debate, I want to bring on some speakers so everybody can have instant reactions and people can say what they want to say. But remember also, we're going to do a full live recap on Kid Gravity's channel. So make sure you subscribe to Kid Gravity. Make sure you subscribe to Black Alpha Network. He's not here right now. Hopefully he pulls up, but make sure you subscribe to our brother Afro Elite as well. But we're going to get right to it. Rich, are you ready for the go?
I'm ready for the go. Just let the family know what's going on. Fill them in on what's about to happen.
All right. Check this out. We're going to have a full, like I said, a lengthy debate. These two brothers, if you are familiar with our spaces, these two brothers have bumped heads on a couple issues before, and it was lively. And I put up some of the Twitter spaces on my YouTube channel, and everybody was talking about it. About 3 weeks ago, everyone was speaking about these brothers' exchanges because they were both coming from a position that they stand firm on. And that's the beauty of it. When two brothers stand firm on a position that they really believe in, and they can have an honest debate about it. So everyone had a good conversation about it. A lot of folks were saying they should debate. A lot of people were DMing us and saying, man, we need to make this a space and make it live. So me being me, Black Alpha Network, I'm never going to pass up on an opportunity to make things live. So I said, let's get this going. We communicated with the brothers. We corresponded with the brothers. We got a list of questions set up, and we're going to have a real debate. It's all about reparations. It's all about the Black community. So it's going to be about the relations of race in this country, but as well, again, to the reparations and what we can do to empower our community. And we're going to hear all sides. And then when we're all done, we're going to convene right back here, and we're going to talk about it just like we would do at our house. But Brother Will, are you ready for roll?
Yes, sir. Waiting on you guys.
With that said, Kid Gravity, fire off with the questions. Let's get this thing started.
Good evening to all, and all a good evening. We will dub this the Black Alpha Debate Channel and the Black Alpha Debate Space. And the topic is reparations. And the other part of what we'll be discussing is each brother's political and socio-political views. But we will start with reparations because reparations seems to be a hot button topic. But before we get into that, we're going to allow each brother to answer the first question, just so the people that are in the room can have a clearer understanding who have been here before, but also people who are new to the space, they can sort of get caught up in what we've been discussing the last few weeks. So any one of you guys can start, and then we'll go in a format back and forth. So first question is for Will and Rich. State your political status and why are you a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Conservative, Liberal, two guns up, whatever. Be one. Just let everybody know who you are and why you have your views the way you do. So anyone can start first.
Brother Rich, you can go first, brother, because you on top. It's simply just because you on top, and then we'll follow. And then we can flip back and forth. So whoever goes first, the next one can go first the next time. But Brother Rich, go ahead and start that off.
Ladies first.
No comment.
Can we not do that, please? Let's not do that. Let's keep it respectful. Please, let's keep it respectful. Told you, the white supremacists are listening.
All right. On a serious note, I got no bad blood with our brother Will. We have opposing views, but I do honestly believe his heart is in the right space. We just got to get him straightened up a little bit. But I don't have no bad blood towards him. Anything I say in this debate is nothing personal. It's all business. It's all about B1. And you can hit me with the question. And by the way, I'm joking. So I'm gonna throw jokes in there. If Will could take jokes, I'm gonna throw some jokes in there.
Okay. Now, again, the question is for you, Rich. Please just briefly explain to people your ideologies and which side of the political spectrum, if you are part of it, that you reside on, just so people can have a better understanding of who you are.
Okay, well, to answer the question, I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I'm for black people. So whatever benefits black people the most, whatever laws or privileges or any type of memorandum that supports black people, that advances black people, that's the direction I'm heading. So, for example, you're like, okay, what do you mean? So if the Democrats have something that can benefit black people, then I'll sit at the table with the Democrats. If the Republicans have something that can benefit black people, then I'll sit with the Republicans at the table. My vote is for sale. So I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I'm black first, and my agenda is for black people, period.
Thank you, Brother Rich. Will, you may go.
Hey, good evening. I thank you guys for having me on. To keep it simple, short, and sweet, I am a conservative. The reason why I'm a conservative is because I believe in the traditional family. I believe that the government should not have as much control as they have over people's individual lives. I support pro-life. I support justice for all. And when I say all, that means all people, all ethnicities, all religions. I believe justice is justice. I believe right is right and wrong is wrong. And I'm looking forward to the debate.
All right. Thank you for that. Okay, folks, let us begin and have some fun tonight. So, as Black Alpha said, we came up with some questions, and we feel that these questions will spark lively discussions. So, the first one is, we'll start with Brother Will. Do you believe in reparations for foundational Black Americans, affectionately called FBA? Why or why not?
Okay. I think if I could ask, before we get into that aspect, if you all could just enlighten the audience who does not know what FBA means, let them know what that actually is. So a lot of people have clarity on that.
Black
I'll
Alpha,
take
I'll
that
let you
one.
take that.
Yes, indeed. Foundational Black Americans are Black people who are indigenous to the United States of America, Black people who are the descendants of slaves in the United States of America, Black people who were basically here before everybody else was. An old term, they used to say African American, that's an old term. That term is done, dead, we got rid of that, it's on the curb. Some people say indigenous Black American, some people say foundational Black American, but whether you use either one of those terms, just make sure you make it clear that we're talking about the people who were here first, who built the country, and the ancestors from the people who started this whole thing.
Okay. To give that a short answer, yes, in a sense, on the basis of history and things that we have actually been through here, things that has transpired.
Elaborate a little more, brother. I heard that answer,
Yes.
but elaborate a little further. Why do you support them in a deeper detail?
Well, you said, why do I support them? The reason why I support them is just throughout history. I think everyone in America can agree upon that. One, what happened with the slave trade and the Middle Passage was completely wrong. The way that foundational Black Americans have been dealt with in the past has been wrong, and there should be some type of reparations to basically put us on the same path as everyone else. When we look at different things that has happened in history, yes, I would support that, but I'm not sure if it's on the way that you all may agree on. So that's why I'm trying not to get too heavy in it, because I know we have several questions tonight, and I know we are on a time limit. So just to answer the question in a sense, yes, but probably not in the way that you all are seeing it.
All right. Thank you for that. Rich?
Could you ask the question one more time?
The question is, do you believe in reparations for foundational Black Americans?
Yes, I do believe in reparations for foundational Black Americans, and the reason why is because, as you guys know, the JEWs got it, the Asians got it, and we have foundational Black Americans have been through a million times worse than what they've been through, and still have gotten nothing. They promised us 40 acres and a mule, and here we are 400 years later, we didn't even get a mule yet. So I 100% back reparations for foundational Black Americans, because foundational Black Americans deserve it.
Thank you, sir, for that. Now, we'll start with Rich on this. Rich, we have heard many forms of reparations, from land to checks, and even the coons have said they wanted extra biscuits. But seeing as you have stated you are for reparations for foundational Black Americans, what type of reparations do you propose?
Cash, 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 cash.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
All right. Thank you so much. Will, what form of assistance or reparations do you believe is acceptable for foundational Black Americans?
Okay. I actually have 7 points. Point number one is not based upon the government. It's us coming together. Point number two is financial literacy. After that, I say education, the education system. On top of that, I would say, let me see. I believe that there should be programs made or created that I also believe that there should be a criminal justice reform. And those are the stances that I'm mainly standing on. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you both for your answers. Very good.
Brother Rich, would you like to rebuttal that?
Yes.
I certainly would like to rebut that, because he said yes, he's for reparations, but then he said he got 7 points, and none of those points covered cash reparations. So I want him to clarify, what does he mean by those 7 points? The criminal justice system, criminal reform. He mentioned that. He mentioned what else did he mention? He mentioned financial literacy. Is he saying that that's reparations? I'm a little bit confused here. I need some clarification.
Well, his question was, what form of reparations does he believe would be acceptable for foundational Black Americans?
So basically, his final answer, Will, your final answer is that that's what you believe reparations is. Those 7 points.
That's what he would like to see.
Right.
Well, I want Will to answer, because I need the clarification from. I don't want to mistake his words.
Right. So when he asked me, what would I like to see happen for reparations for financial Black Americans, that is my answer. There is a 7 point that I would like to be seen. Again, the first one is us coming together. That does not take the government. Financial literacy. That does not take the government. Education system. That does take the government as far as it goes with funding. When we look at the monuments that African American or foundational Black Americans have in this country that are not taught to none of the children. So only thing they're getting taught is basically that they were slaves and that they were free, and that there were very few limited amount of doctors, inventors, things of that nature. Outside of that, I do 100% support there being funding for Black farmers, Black businesses, and there should be a criminal justice reform. Those should be part of the reparations that I want to see.
Got it. So just to clarify, you said the first one was us coming together, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, if the hosts don't mind, I would like to get into the definition of the word reparations, and I'm looking at it here, and it says the making of amends for wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. So my question is, my confusion comes in when he says he wants he wants us to get together, but how is that reparations by us getting together? Shouldn't another group of people be providing reparations? How are we providing reparations to each other by just getting together?
Brother Will, feel free to answer any rebuttal. We're going real, we're going live, so fire off as you please.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason why I said that is number one on my list is because one, you're always going to constantly have people asking for reparations until we can come together and in a sense and ask for something. It will constantly be this group fighting against this one, this group fighting against this one, this group asking for this, and it's going to be a lot of confusion going on, opposed to us coming together, putting the differences aside, sitting down, and making an actual goal on what we're going after. Oh, and by the way, when it says making amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping, that's an or otherwise helping. We have to come together. That has to be encouraged in the community. Right now in the community, we are encouraged to fight each other based upon skin, based upon political stance, based upon almost
Okay, but
everything in the
wait,
community.
but
So when we say or otherwise helping those that have been wrong, the way that can be helped is us coming together.
okay, but I'm still confused because you said us coming together. We don't have anything. So when we come together, how are we giving each other reparations? Shouldn't reparations come from the people that wronged us?
Well, no, I said, now this is why in the beginning I said that I agree with reparations, but it may be on a different note than what you're on in the beginning. Again, when you have several groups, you have the NAACP, you have the National Reparations Committee, you have several committees that are asking. I mean, in California, you had the Reparations Committee out there asking that finally agreed to have reparations based upon lineage, which gets back into the foundational Black American claim. So whenever you are looking at it from that standpoint, we have to get on the same note on what we're asking for. You know, just to get down to nitty gritty of it, we'll look at other groups and we'll say, well, these people got this, these people had got this. Well, what was the way that they got there? What was the way that they received this? How did they go about doing this? And if you look at it in history, you had a group of people, regardless of their stance, that stood together and that said, okay, we're looking for justice in this form. Whereas over here, you have some people asking for cash payment, check payment, run that check. You have other people asking for governmental programs. You have other people saying baby bonds.
So by your if we was to choose, if we was to go down your direction of receiving reparations, then by definition, us being on this Twitter space today with Black people is coming together. So by definition, this is reparations right here. This conversation we having with 40 people in here.
Not necessarily. And the reason why I said not necessarily is because several of these spaces that I have been in, there has been a lot of conflict in those spaces where you have people up.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this one right here. This
right.
space right here.
I'm talking about this one right here. Right now, you said we have about 40 people in here. I'm sure some of us may have different stances. So again, we have to put those stances together, and we have to come together towards a specific goal. Again, if you have a billion people in one room, okay. Well, let me get this back on track. When you had the 40 acres and a mule claim, this is in history. You can look this up. You can go to history.com, wherever you want to go to get your information from. There were 4.1 million slaves that were freed, right? So when the 40 acres and a mule came about, it was actually for a plot of 400,000 acres of land. So if you divide that up, that is 10.25 acres of land for every Black American. But the catch was, in history, they had to go there until they had to work, or they agreed to work the land. All this is in history. They agreed to work that land, and over time they would make enough money to own the land. However, that did not fall through. President Lincoln was assassinated. Then another president came in.
I don't think we need
restored that.
I don't think we need
Well,
to be educated, brother.
well, the reason why education is also very important is because we have to look at what are we actually trying to get done and what has happened in history that has hindered that from getting done. Just a second ago, you said that you wanted the 40 acres and a mule. We didn't have the 40 acres and a mule.
I did not say that. That's not what I said.
earlier when the debate first got started, you said we haven't even received the 40 acres nor a mule.
Correct. That's what I
Right.
said. The first statement you just said was not what I said. I didn't
Okay.
say we want it. That's not what I said.
No. I said that the thing that I said, Rich, and I know you want to get into a heated debate, but that this is why listening is very important. The
Yeah,
point
this
that
is,
I
but
made
you
is
didn't. But
that
you didn't
you
listen though.
said,
You took my words and you twisted it. I didn't
well,
say. I didn't say we wanted. I said we were owed 40 acres in a mule
no,
and we didn't
you
receive.
said that. Yeah, you said that we that have not received 40 acres and a mule. I
Okay,
never said that you wanted that.
just now, you just said I said that we wanted it. That's two different
Okay,
things.
well, I tell you what. If you're saying if I made that mistake and say that that is what you said you wanted, then I apologize about that. However,
No,
that
no,
is
no, no need to apologize. No need
no.
to apologize.
Well.
I'm just making
The
sure.
reason why,
Because
yeah,
whatever I
so
say,
we're on the same page. I got you.
exactly. Go ahead.
But now, again, the point that I was making was that you said that as of yet, no one has received that 40 acres and a mule. That was promised to the workers that came there that tilled the ground and that would make enough money to own that land, that will also enlist their children in the service in different battalions in the community. So if we're going to look at this in the sense of, okay, well, we were owed this, we haven't received it yet. Well, we want to know what was up. That's why the history is very important, because we have to also understand what has happened in history. How can a person move forward without knowing their past? You have to know your past. That's how you get forward.
If y'all not following this space and tweeting it out, I don't know what y'all doing. This is what I'm talking about. Two brothers having a disagreement, but they outlined their points perfectly, and we got clarity. And hopefully, y'all taking notes, because the other spaces don't do this. Y'all be hearing a whole bunch of babble. But we're going to continue with reparations, because this is, again, the hot button topic of the year. So I believe I will start with Rich on this. So, Brother Rich, what is your proposal for Black America after receiving reparations?
My proposal is for them to do whatever it is they want. And I know some people are like, did Rich just say that? Yes, I did just say that. When you owe somebody money, what they do with that money when you give to them is not on you. Whatever it is they decide to do with that money is on them. So if Black Americans want to go buy weed, like, and this is all the stereotypes too, weed, Jordans, Versace, Gucci, do whatever it is you please with that money, because you were owed that money and you dictate what you do with that money. If I owe $40 to every single person in here, and then when it's time to give that $40 up to every single person in here, who am I to go tell them, oh, don't go buy weave with that, don't go buy clothes with that, don't go buy a house with that, don't go buy this or this or that with that? That is not on me. It's not on me to determine what they spend their money on. It's on them. So to answer your question, whatever it is they decide to spend that money on, it's on them. Now, that's not to say I don't have suggestions and I don't have, some thoughts and plans that I believe we should consider. I absolutely do. But like I said before, it's not on me to determine where someone spends their money that they're owed.
Can I enter a rebuttal real quick there, or a question rather? Rich, or excuse me, Brother Rich, what amount are we looking for?
Well, I'm not an economist, but according to these black economists out there, I believe we're talking about upwards of 20 trillion. And I believe a lot of economists say we could start there. So I'll say 20 trillion and up.
Which economist are you referring to?
Dr. Sandy Darity, I hope I pronounce his name correct.
Yes, Dr. Darity.
And so you're asking for financial Black Americans to receive $20 trillion.
No. You see, you're misconstruing my words again. I didn't say I'm asking. You asked me, what do I believe? I said, according to our black economists, not according to me. I'm not an economist. I don't sit there and do math all day, and I'm not an accountant. So It's not on me. I'm saying what the economists are saying. They study this for a living, and I'm saying what they're saying, and I'm allowing them to lead on that subject.
Okay, so again, what you're leaning on though, or leaning towards, according to the study that you've done, is $20 trillion, and then that will make everything go away. That would be reparations, so everyone would get what they're owed. Is that correct?
No, I believe that's the starting point. 20 trillion is where we start talking and where we start dividing the checks. I believe that's the starting point. And by the way, I'm not foundational Black American, so I don't determine what foundational Black Americans can get, what they should receive or should not receive. I'm just a fellow soldier in this war, and I'm here to help and give my resources to it. But I am no scholar, no authority when it comes to this. I know when to fall back, and I know when to move forward. And I will never disrespect foundational Black Americans and start pushing buttons that I shouldn't be pushing.
Thank you, Brother Rich.
Well, can I get one more rebuttal? It's not
Go
necessarily a
ahead.
rebuttal, but I'm trying to get clarity on what he's actually, saying. Okay, so now with this $20 trillion, you're saying run that check. Is that correct?
I didn't say run that check. No, I didn't say that. I'm saying Black economists have said that foundational Black Americans are owed upwards of 20 trillion. 20 trillion is not the final number, but we're talking about nothing below 20 trillion.
Okay. Now, could you do me one favor? Could y'all put
Brother
that?
Will, before you say that, I just want to say, if you guys have questions and you want to come up and speak, I appreciate that. Black Alpha appreciates that. Can you go back down in the queue and save that for later? Please. That's all I'm asking. Please
Yes,
go
and we're
back
going to take
down as
requests.
listeners.
Yeah, we're going to take requests after everything is done and these brothers debated. We're going to have immediate reaction. So save the request because a lot of people are trying to get in. I got a lot of DMs and I got a lot of
Yes,
requests. So
I've written down the names of the two people that requested so far. So if once we do that, if they're still here, we'll get to them first. But please go back down as listeners, please.
now let's get back to this debate because it's hot. Let's go.
Yes, Will, you may continue.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking, or if he could y'all put that in the is it called the jumbotron? Is that called the jumbotron of
Yes,
the
sir.
economist that he mentioned, so I can see that plan?
Yes, you both can put whatever you need to put in there in the jumbotron.
Okay, I'm kind of fairly newer to Twitter, so I don't know how to do that.
Well, basically, any tweet you put up, you can just push that share button, and at the top it'll have the Twitter space there, so you can just add whatever you want, and everybody will see it.
Okay, cool. And the reason why I'm asking these questions, because right now all the reparations that I have been looking at, when we go up in the trillion price tags, I have not seen one where those were direct payments to Foundation of Black Americans. We see these as implementing programs. We see these as implementing baby bonds. We see these as implementing all these other things than what Brother Rich said in the beginning of the debate of when he made the claim that if I'm owed money, I should be given the money that I'm owed. Well, no. If you look at what they're talking about right now, what's your talking point? We're looking at programs. We're looking at baby bonds.
No. You're looking at that,
No, no.
not everybody else.
This is
Everybody in here is looking at cash. You looking at a whole bunch of programs that ain't gonna do shit for us. But go
yeah.
ahead.
But you referenced, that's why I say if you could put that in Jumbotron, because right now what's going on, okay, and I'm gonna put this in Jumbotron on my end. That way, I'm trying to get us on the same page. Because you referenced some economists where they said 20 trillion. The highest that I've seen so far has only been 10 to 12 trillion. But I guess I'll put this in the Jumbotron so everyone can see it.
Again, make sure you guys are tweeting this space out. We want to blow these numbers up. But while Will is getting that done, put out y'all reactions to what you've heard so far. You can put the hearts, claps. I don't know if they had thumbs down. Put whatever you want. I need to know how the room is feeling so far.
I'm gonna chime in real quick too. This is a Black Alpha debate, so it ain't prim and proper. It's straight real. It's straight to the point. It's B1 certified energy, and it's gonna keep going. I'm gonna let both these brothers say what they need to say, speak what they gotta speak. We're not gonna try to reel them in. We're not gonna try to put no leashes on them. We're gonna go at this straightforward because that's the only way you get things done. All that nice shit and all that sweet stuff that's not really where we are. We need to really stay true to it and let these brothers get off. So that's why if it gets real and it gets heavy, this is no different than us at our own houses. But to the two brothers with requests, we got to have y'all come down. Remove yourself, so we're going to have to remove you. We're going to have to remove you because we got a lot of people coming in. So take you down and we got your names. We'll bring you in. Go ahead, Brother Kid.
I ain't seeing no emojis. Come on, people. I need to know how the room is feeling. I know it's been a long day. It's 10 o'clock, 7 o'clock for y'all on the West Coast, but I need to know. This will determine if we continue doing things like this. All right, Brother Will, you have sent me something. I will put it in the Jumbotron for you. I got to put this as a tweet, though, so you got to give me 1 second.
Yeah, I tried to do it on my own, but I didn't see the option to do it, so I had to send it to you guys.
No, that's fine. So, but you can continue while I do that, unless you're finished.
That's why when we have these conversations, and we reference that it was 20 trillion here or it's 10 trillion here, we have to look at the way that it's broken down. So if you're not supporting the way that it's broken down, then the talking point is kind of null and void. That's in order to make a claim, it has to be backed up by facts. Facts meaning that something that you can prove. So when we say that we're going after $20 trillion for reparations, we need to know, what is that based on? How is that going to get paid down? Are these funding options? Is this going to be like the 40 acres and a mule, when you had 4.1 million slaves that were freed, and they were promised, or they were told, that if they came and worked 400,000 acres of land, and in time had made the money to own that land, that it would be theirs. But then when the time came, that because they weren't the owners of that land and the restoration program happened in history, they didn't get it. That's why we have to know what's going on. He mentioned the $20 trillion by a black economist. I'm just asking to see what plan did that economist have, which I think is a very simple claim to ask.
Okay, you're asking me what plan does that economist have?
Yes, when you make your basis for reparations based upon black economists, and you say, well, some have referenced $20 trillion. I'm asking, if they reference the $20 trillion, what was that broken down in? Was that cash payments? Was
Cash.
okay? Well, then submit that. Wait, so now there's a difference between what you're saying and then what the economist that you're referencing said. Now, you can make claims all day. We deserve cash payments for $20 trillion. But now, as you said before, you're not an economist. So now you're using a plan for someone else, and the only thing I'm asking for is almost like the receipt of that plan, so we can see what are they lobbying for. That way people can get behind that. But, to sit back and say, okay, we're going to ask for cash, okay, but that's not what was presented. It's just like if you had a candidate running for presidency, and they run on the basis of being a superhero, and they get everyone riled up for them being a superhero. Then you go back to their page and you see that, no, they're not a superhero. They're a villain. They're here to steal from the people. They're here to take tax money to be private investors. Even though they gave you a campaign claim of us being a superhero, when you look at their rap sheet, it doesn't add up.
Okay, right now what you're doing is you're basically on a bike, and you're inside of a car, and you're riding down a one-way street. I don't know how me saying other economists like Sandy Deddery said 20 trillion is what is owed to Black Americans. I don't know how you took that and said that basically whatever he says I agree with. That's not what I'm saying here. You asked me a question and I answered your question. Don't tie me and Sandy Deddery together. I don't know all the details of what he's got going on. My purpose of mentioning his name and that number was to answer your question.
Right, and that goes back to what I just said. The reason why I'm asking this is because again, you came up with the number $20 trillion. Right now, there's 41. I think there's 41.1 million black people in America. There has to be a study on how many are how foundationally black Americans. But nevertheless, you're asking or you're proposing that to get the cash payments of what we're asking for or what we're suggesting we should get or what this black economist suggests should get. I'm just asking for that plan so I can read that. A lot of times I'm the type of person who likes to get facts and likes to
Well,
get.
if you want the plan, when you sign off of here, you can go look at the plan. I'm not here to present anyone's plan. Like I said, you asked me a question, I answered your question. I answered you. The first question you asked me was, how much in reparations should foundational black Americans get? I answered that question. I said 20 trillion. And I said, according to black economists like Sandy Dedry, there's nothing else I could do for you when it comes to that, to this particular conversation. If you want to move forward and digest something else, we can do that. But trying to tie me to somebody else that I don't even know or don't even have no details of, I'm just referencing what he got going on and what he's been got going on in his book and in his legacy. That's two totally different things.
And you said this. What was this guy's name? Doctor.
Dr. Sandy Darity, Darrity. He's referenced in that article that you sent me.
Okay. Well, in that article that I sent, I don't see anything in there that says $20 trillion. But in the one that I sent you, you'll see where they're waging the baby bonds and they're waging all these other programs that are not that don't coexist with what he's claiming. The closest thing to that is when they said they'll give $800,000 per, I think it was per household for a reparation. But this is after they get the funding. This is after, or not necessarily get the funding because they definitely have it, but this is after they decide where that money is going to come from. Now, when I came into this debate, the reason why I'm here is so that there can get clarity. So, Rich, I'm not attacking you in any way, any means at all whatsoever.
You're
However,
not attacking me, but right now you're babbling. That's what you're doing because you keep
not necessarily.
mentioning what someone else has said and trying to tie me into that. That has nothing to do with me. Host and co-host, if you want to present another question, but this guy is, he's riding down a one-way street.
Yes, that was lively. Thank you so much for both of you. We're getting off reparations now. I appreciate your stances on that. I think the people that have been here before and the people that are new understand where your stances are. And, we'll let them decide who they agree with or disagree with. But we shall continue. We are going to move over now into politics, specifically also sociopolitics. So I shall start with Will. What do you feel about the current race relations in America? Are they good, bad, decent? How do you feel about it?
Okay. This comes back to again at me asking for clarity. When I look at the race relations, what am I comparing this to? Now, if I'm looking at this in comparison to my entire life, I would say that everything is good right now, but I need to know what we are comparing this to.
Well, considering that a lot of us in this space are under 40, I would assume, we'll go from when it was in the 80s to the crime bill era to the Obama era. We'll even add the Bush 2 era into it. Trump, and now here we are about 2 years into a year and a half into Biden. So we'll go with that timeline.
With that timeline, I'll say that it is decent. I believe that it is decent.
Okay, can you elaborate?
Yes, the reason why I say that it is decent is because we're not living in a time where we have outward policies or outward people that are attacking the black community. Right now, we're living in a community where a person can decide to be whatever they want and work towards getting that. We're living in the greatest time that there has been in America.
Can I interrupt?
Let him finish, Rich. Let him finish, Rich. You'll get a chance to rebuttal.
Well, he can come on in. He can come on
Say
in.
less. All right. Say less.
So this guy just said, compared to back in the days, race relations is okay. Is that what you said? I just want to clarify.
Well, no, he asked me about the specific areas for our time. Again, I'm 28, so a lot of like in the 80s, I wasn't alive, so I can't give a comment on the 80s as my personal experience. Now, since I've been alive, I would say that it is decent in
Okay, but
America.
I believe the co-host is saying based on history. Do you believe back in the days race relations was better?
Oh no,
Or
absolutely not. I mean, you're talking about back in the day when there was slavery, when you had actual hate groups that were
Whoa,
out.
whoa, whoa! I didn't go back that far.
Okay, well,
I said before between the 80s till today. Now you said you're 28, so you came up within the 90s. So you
right,
were late 90s when you were early 2000s when you were aware of what was going on.
right.
Right. So let's keep it to the specific chronological order that I had. The 80s with the crack era, Reagan, up until now, which is a year and a half of Biden. Let's keep it there.
Okay. Well, then again, if we're looking at a time period where you had hate groups that were out, that were actively attacking black organizations, black cities, minorities of all, as hate word, compared to right now, if we're comparing those two, things are a lot better right now than what they've ever been. In comparison of those two.
so is the police department all across the United States of America, they're not considered hate groups?
Mm, I wouldn't necessarily consider the task force as a hate group. I would consider the people that are committing the crimes as people that can be considered to be racist or
Are when you say
outwardly
people
wrong.
when you say people committing crimes, are you talking about uh, uh, civilians, or are you talking about police
No,
officers?
no, I'm talking about specific police officers that have done horrible things to civilians, and nothing has happened. That's what I'm speaking on when I say that I wouldn't necessarily say that the task force itself is a hate group, but now you do have hateful people in the task force, just like you have racists in every city, everywhere.
So basically, what you're saying is there's a few bad apples in the police departments all around the United States of America.
I believe it's a lot more than a few, but yes.
Okay. Well, the FBI came out with a report in 2003 basically saying that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement. So for you to say that things have gotten better when there was a time when there was the KKK and all of these hate groups until now, I mean, that's kind of strange to me. In my opinion, it either is the same or it gotten worse. There's no way in hell it gotten better when you got white supremacists all across the United States infiltrating law enforcement.
Okay. Now you just referenced, what report did you just reference,
The FBI,
and what year?
2003, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Do not quote me on the year. Or
Okay, no, brother. Again, I'm not here to digest you. I'm just here to compare the facts. So back in 2003, I have never read that report, but just on the gist of what you said, back in 2003, there was a very different time. You did have radical groups that
no,
came
no,
out.
no, no, no. It's not a different time. We got
Uh,
California in California
it
right
is
now. There's literally white supremacist gangs. In order for you to join the LAPD right now in California, you have to join the white supremacist gang. So that is not a different time. We living in the same damn time.
okay. Now, again, back to the point that I was making. Back in 2003, which was the year that you claim, we don't know if it's the exact year, but it is in the gist. In that year, you did not have widespread groups that came out and did an outcry for an event that happened. In history, in 2013, you had one of the most influential groups out. I don't agree with them on several of their points, but you did have a group called Black Lives Matter that came out. When Black Lives Matter came out, you had people talking about that's how reparations came to the forefront. That's how social justice came to the forefront, because you had these groups that came out, uh, as a response to the hate crime. Now, when you reference that you happen to join the LAPD in California by joining a white supremacist group, I have never heard that. But what I will say is that in the same city that you just referenced, California, that has been the only city so far that has a reparations team. So I just kind of find that almost like working against the point that you just made to reference a city that is saying that in order to be in the LAPD, you have to be a white supremacist. But this is the same city and almost the only city that has a reparations claim.
So basically, what you're saying is two things can't be true at the same time.
No. I never said two things can't be true at the same time. I'm saying you're referencing a point of something that I've never heard, and I'm comparing that to the fact of California being the only city that has a reparations task force. So again, I would ask to give me time so I can research that, or if you can put that in Jumbotron. Again, the other day you said you're going to get your paperwork ready. So now when you reference that you have to be a white supremacist to join the LAPD in California, I don't see that as a factual claim. But again, if you can show me that, I can elaborate on that. But I don't. So sometimes you can have ideas. So only thing I'm asking for now is a receipt. Show me where in California the LAPD is saying that you have to be a part of the white supremacy or join white supremacy.
Well, just to clarify, I don't need to get my paperwork ready. My paperwork been ready. And if you're looking for receipts, then that's on you. I'm not here to educate you. I'm here to school you and make sure you know what the stances that you have is 100% detrimental to Black society. The fact that you don't know that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement, that tells me a lot about your belief and your stance.
Well, not necessarily. So before we even got into the California claim that you made, you asked me if I believe that there are a few bad apples in the bunch. And I said, well, no, if we're looking at task force, it's a lot more than a few bad apples that are in the bunch. You have racist cops. You have cops that are good. You have cops that are crazy. You have cops that
Show me where the good cops are. Could you point to me?
Easily look at every community. If there were bad cops on every corner, there would be an outcry of crime, an outcry of murders in every city at the same exact time. Whereas right now in the media, which is horrible, which is why I think a lot of people are coming to the new Black media to give them facts and truth, and why people are looking at conservatives to give them truth, because right now you have a national narrative being pushed that in a lot of cases people would say that police are bad, that police are racist. That is a narrative that is in the community.
What you just said was false. It is proven that having a bunch of cops in one location actually does not decrease crime. This is a proven fact. I don't know if you noticed, but this is a proven fact.
Well,
what
is that in response to?
And you're Mr. Reference guy, since you need a reference.
Yeah.
You love references. Malcolm X said this back in 1964. He said, look at the Black community. You have a whole bunch of cops inside the Black community, but nothing has changed. So that means there's no they bring no value to our communities. They just bombard us with police officers, and the crime still never decreases. So Malcolm X said this back in 1964. I know you love receipts.
Yeah.
I just gave you one.
Yeah. And guess what? I think Malcolm X, the Honorable Malcolm X, is a great person to listen to.
Brother, you over here, you're drifting again. This is not your time to start drifting and naming Malcolm X.
Well, no.
I know all his quotes.
I'm responding to the point that you made.
I'm just
now the point that you made. You referenced a claim where back in 1964, where again you had a widespread of white supremacist groups such as the KKK that were out attacking other groups such as what was it, the Black Panther, such as the Muslims in that time. You had groups that were actually fighting. So to compare 1964 to claim to 2022, it's still, and guess what? It still does happen, but it happens at a very substantial less rate than what it was happening there. Now, that does not mean that it is right. It is wrong. But again, that comes with us coming together and standing up on these cases.
All right. Cool. Thank you, Brother Will, for that. Now, Rich, I propose the same question to you. What do you feel? How do you feel about the current race relations in America? Good, bad, decent? It can go to hell. However you want to answer it.
That's a very, very tricky question. I know for sure it has not gotten better. But for me to say it has gotten worse or it has stayed the same, I would have to really dig deep and see, how much black folks got lynched, during the lynching days compared to how much black folks are getting shot by the cops in this day and age. The last article I read, it did say that more black people were killed by the cops than they were lynched during the last decade. But I'm not gonna sit here and ever say things have gotten better, because it has not gotten better. It's either gotten worse or stayed the same. Both answers is bad for Black America, because it needs to get better, not worse or stay the same.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. So we shall move on. I will start with Brother Rich on this question. According to you, and this is mainly an opinion, what is preventing the progression in the Black community the most?
You said what is? Say the end of the sentence just one more
What
time.
is preventing the progression in the Black community, the upward progression in the Black community the most? What factors do you believe are hindering our progress?
Got it. Two things. Number one, the number one thing that's stopping progress in the Black community is white supremacists. Number two is the white supremacist collaborators known as the Coons. And I hope I answered your question.
Quick and to the point. I appreciate that, Brother Rich. Now, Brother Will, same question applies to you. According to you, what is preventing the upward progression of the Black community the most?
What is preventing us the most from progressing? I would say lack of support and lack of education.
So we need more education. That's how things are going to get better.
No, but now if we look at it on a wide scale basis, right now there aren't on an uprise of Black businesses that are being established. There aren't Black farmers that are coming out on the left and right.
And why is that? Why is that?
Well, one, because of lack of support.
Lack of support from who?
One, the community. Two, the government. Again, a lot of my claims.
Okay, wait. So you said one, the community, and two, the government.
Yes.
If Black people are first of all, an article came out, and I know you love articles, you love receipts. I'm gonna give you another one. I stay with receipts. An article came out, I believe, 2 years ago that said Black people will be the poorest group of people in America. I think they said by 2053. So how where are we going to get support from? How are we going to support each other if we're poor? That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, you said the government. So if you're saying the government, shouldn't you say white supremacists? Because two articles just came out literally last month that said Wells Fargo's denied Black homeowners from refinancing their houses.
You're speaking on the claim of here in Georgia, which I referenced in our past conversation. But to get back on track, the reason why I said lack of support is when you do have these farmers that come out, they do need support from the community, no matter if it's vendors, no matter if it's people that are going to buy from a grocery store. They need that support. They need that dollar. I know farmers right now that it has been a little rougher on them to get funding. The reason why they can't get funding in some instances is because of not being able to produce certain documents or not having the means to get certain loans that they need for these businesses, for these farms. So that's
why are white folks getting these loans and getting their homes refinanced? Because in the article, if you read it, it said Wells Fargo's allowed 70% of their applicants to refinance their homes, but only allowed about 20 or 30% of black people to refinance their home when the real estate market was booming. So please explain to me, why is it that black farmers and black homeowners are not allowed to do this, but the dominant society, white folks, are allowed to do it? You said it's the government, and you said it's the lack of support from black people. This is why we're not progressing. Shouldn't it be white supremacists because they decide whether or not we get approved for these loans or not?
Well, not necessarily. So, again, I'm a person who is actually in or getting into financial literacy, and this is what I see on a regular basis when you have these claims that come out. Now, Wells Fargo has been under fire about a lot of things, no matter if it has been about hiring Black Americans to be in the top chain. So Wells Fargo has been under attack for obvious reasons. So I won't touch on that aspect of it too much, but that is a great thing to reference. However, when you look at getting a home, and all this comes back to financial literacy, when you look at getting a home refinance, a lot of times the area that it's in matters. A lot of times the what's going on in that city matters. Whereas I would suggest, now I have not read that article in depth, but from what I could understand, what I have talked with Wells Fargo employees is one of the claims that were brought upon on that decision was because of the crime uprise in Atlanta before the gentleman asked for the refund.
Could I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you believe we're in a system of white supremacy?
Now, before I answer that, I need you to define.
It's a yes or no.
No. The reason why it's not a yes or no question is because we have to be on the same page. Now, when you say white supremacy, what are you referring to?
Do you believe we're in a system of white supremacy where white supremacists decide what goes and what comes with whatever we do and whatever goes on in our community? Do you believe there's a system of white supremacy that is global, that dominates every single sector of human activity? Do you believe we're in a system like that? Yes or no?
No.
So you don't believe we're in a system of white supremacy, correct?
No, not.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Right.
All right. Yeah. I like it a lot. And I'm sure Black Alpha agrees with me. We got to do this more often. This is what we like. We need to have brothers come and sit in the barber chairs and express their opinions.
Hey, can I chime in real quick, family? Let me chime in real quick. Everybody in the room, if you could share this, it'd be real good. And we're going to take a bunch of questions afterwards, and we're going to let some people talk afterwards because I'm still getting a lot of requests. But this is live. This is how we do it. Black Alpha Network debate, straight to the point. Brothers being themselves, very thorough. Let's keep it going.
Yes, sir. Now, Brother Will, we will start you off with this. As a conservative, do you feel that Black America is accepting of your views, or do you feel your opinions are not valued or heard?
I think it depends on which group of Black Americans or financial Black Americans you're referring to. Do I believe that some people will agree with my point? Yes. Do I believe that some people will disagree with me? Well, of course. We don't live in a world where a person is going to agree with 100% of everything that everyone says. So to answer your question, yes, on both ends, people are going to agree, people are going to disagree. Only thing that I would say is that we have to look toward the facts. And hopefully we'll be able to touch on what Rich and I were just talking about, or Brother Rich and I were just talking about a second ago.
Okay, great. Because I'm glad that Brother Rich brought up white supremacy. I don't know, Brother Will, if you have been perusing Twitter lately, but there was a tweet that went semi-viral the other day. I had done a video on it on my channel. But basically, this conservative commentator of Latino descent decided to tweet out that black on black crime is a greater threat than white supremacy. Now, again, mind you, she's of Latino descent, but she said that about black on black crime. Now, as a conservative yourself, and hearing what she tweeted out as a fellow conservative, do you think she is right on that, or do you think she's misguided?
Well, I think that is her opinion. Do I think her opinion is misguided? I believe it all depends on what information she's looking at. What happens with conservatives a lot of times, they'll look at different facts or factors that reference crime, and they'll make those claims. I understand the point that she was trying to make, but I don't think that her choice of words were suitable for what she was trying to, implement. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. You're basically saying that she didn't convey her point the way it should have been conveyed.
Right. I think a lot of times when you're trying to make a point, your choice of words is everything. Your choice of words is everything. Right now, white supremacy or the talk of white supremacy is on a uprise where it's a very touchy subject. So whenever you mention white supremacy and then you mention it too, or you reference a community that has had several cases where, there was evidence of white supremacy or maybe narcissism. Some people argue that it's narcissism and not so much white supremacy. But whenever you have that active in a community, you have to be very choosy with your words.
So you believe white people are out here committing crimes on black people because of narcissism?
Well, no, I believe that several people are very narcissistic. Yes, they're very self-centered. They don't care about what anyone else says.
So let me ask you one more time. So you believe there are some white people out here committing crimes not because they're white supremacists, but because they're narcissists?
Yes, I do believe that.
Okay, let me just grab
Rich.
Okay, now this is coming back to why when you say white supremacy, what are you referencing? Are you referencing?
We'll get into that. Hang on. Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I'm asking clarity is because he's asked that now twice, and still hasn't answered when I said
right. But my question also dealt with white supremacy, so I wanted to get his take on it, and then you two can go back and forth with the definition of white supremacy. But I just want to get Rich's thoughts on the tweet. So, Rich, as I said before, there was a Latino conservative female named Sarah Gonzalez. Y'all can go look up the tweet at Sarah Gonzalez TX. She said that black on black crime is a greater threat than white supremacy. So, how do you feel about what she said? Was she correct or was she misguided?
I believe she's a suspected white supremacist practicing white supremacy in a system of white supremacy, the same system that Mr. Will doesn't believe exists. But here we are, we have clear evidence. She's a white Hispanic, I believe. There's a whole bunch of gangs and violence going on in her community, but she has yet to mention that. But she knows a lot about black on black crime. So to answer the question, she's a suspected white supremacist to me, and she's practicing white supremacy in a system of white supremacy.
Will, would you like to rebuttal that? Well, yes, of course. The reason why I want to rebuttal that is not necessarily because Rich is wrong. Now, again,
I gotta be wrong because according to you, there's no system of white supremacy.
Well, correct. I don't believe there's a system of white supremacy, but I do believe that there are white supremacists in America. I think what she was trying to
but that doesn't make any sense, because if there's white supremacists and there's no system, how are they getting off when they shoot us in the head and shoot us in the back? How is that happening?
Well, now, are you referring to the task force? Are you? A lot of times, what happens when we have these type of conversations, you'll mention one case or a few cases where that has happened, and you won't mention the results nor the evidence that has happened. Now, in recent years, we had Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is in jail. That's Jim who killed George Floyd.
How about George Zimmerman?
George Zimmerman. Now, he, if I'm not mistaken, he's actually
he's not in jail. How about Peter Liang?
Again, now,
okay, he's not in jail. How about the killer of Mike Brown?
So there is a difference between you talking about George Zimmerman and then you bringing up
receipts.
Case.
You love receipts.
I do.
You love receipts.
Your claim was about white supremacy.
I'm giving you receipts, and you over here stumbling, brother. I'm giving you receipts,
Answer
and
this question, brother Rich.
you over here stuttering,
George
brother.
Zimmerman white? Is George Zimmerman white?
He is a white Hispanic, sir. Did you not know that?
Is he white?
He's mixed.
Wait, no. Is he white or is he white mixed with Hispanic?
He's a white Hispanic. That's exactly what he is.
Okay,
That's what when he
right.
fills out his census, he puts white. He doesn't put
Well, okay.
Hispanic. He puts white. But go ahead,
Have you ever seen his census?
sir.
Now,
This is
again, I'm not advocating for George Zimmerman. I think that was very horrible. Do I believe that that was justice served? No. But then again, my first claim when I came into this debate is I believe in justice for all.
okay. But according to you, white supremacy doesn't exist. How
Right.
does white?
But now
No, wait, wait,
there
wait, wait,
is,
wait, 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 wait. I'm
because this
sorry.
is
Let me
very
wait, wait, wait,
easy.
wait, wait,
There
wait.
is easy to have
Let me
a
take
white
let
supremacist and have
let,
a
let me let
system
me
of
take
white
that back.
supremacy. That's a
Let me take
difference.
that back. According to you, the system of white supremacy doesn't exist. So how come I just named for you 3 suspected white supremacists who have killed black people and got away with it? If there's no system, how are they getting away with
Well,
these crimes?
Well, now since you referenced a police study earlier, I'll reference another police study where you had a gentleman study the police department, the task force across the nation. So what's going on in various communities? You have laws in place that are messed up that allow these things to happen. Now, it's not a conversation of if it's right or wrong, but if you're doing something in a community that allows this, then that's the problem there. That's what needs to be addressed. We need to get lawyers on that. We need to get people out there that are changing that law, because as long as that law is in place,
Okay, so
it can happen.
why do these laws work when it's time to convict black people, but it don't work when it's time to convict
Well,
white people?
that is one of the most misguided claims that you could have ever made. And the reason why I say that is because now again, I believe again
Wait. It's misguided.
that's a
Wait.
misguided statement.
It's misguided.
Yes.
But according to you, you said you wanted criminal justice reform. Then
Yes.
why would you want criminal justice reform, as if you don't know that black men make up damn near 70% of the prisons pipeline in America?
Right. And
So
and
so
the
so so my
majority of
state
these things are
so
for
that makes
nonviolent claims.
that makes my statement true.
No, not at all. So, what you're doing right now is what you said that I did earlier to you, where you're taking something that I said and you're twisting it to fit the narrative that you're trying to present. However, if we can have this conversation, and I was not able to touch on my 7 point of criminal justice reform, where if I did touch on it, you would have understood that I would have made the claim that there are several people that are locked up right now that are in the black community that are in there for non-violent crimes. They're in there for first-time offenders, and they have gotten lengthy claims. Again, this is the this is the basis of a jacked up system. Now, is that system full of white supremacy? No, I don't believe that. However, if you do have a crooked system, you have a system that is set in place that does disfranchise people in the community. Why? Based on that community's laws, based on the laws of Florida, the laws of Georgia. So until we can go after each city laws, then we're just having a claim, and we're talking about or referencing white supremacy when there's something that we can do about it. I mean, I'm a person who believes that there are two type of people in the world: people that are going to complain about it, and the people that are going to do something about it. Now, nowhere in this will I ever incite violence. However, we can go after the laws. What law allowed that? What law needs to be changed? Should police officers be able to use deadly force on a
Okay,
person that is not
there's
posing an
laws.
imminent threat on them?
Sir, there's laws out there that says a police officer shouldn't pull out a gun on a civilian if the civilian is not a threat. But here you got George Zimmerman, who killed Trayvon Martin and didn't have a gun. You got Mike Brown, who was killed by the police officer but
Right.
didn't have a gun. You have Peter Liang, who was walking up his stairs in the projects and was killed by
Right.
no, not Peter Liang, the black guy who was killed by Peter Liang, who did not have a gun. All these people are unarmed. George Floyd was unarmed. So you're
Right.
mentioning laws, and the laws are not working. So what is it here? Does white
Okay.
supremacy exist,
Simple.
or does it not exist?
No.
Because if it don't exist, but white supremacists or white people are getting away with these crimes, then what is it? Because we have a whole bunch of black men in jail. When it's time for black men to go to jail, they go straight to jail. But when it's time for white folks to go to jail, they don't go to jail, especially the ones that kill black people. So I'm a little bit confused here.
Yeah, and I would gladly help trying to straighten some of this out. Now, again, and several, if we look at the case of George Floyd, in that city, I believe that's called the. Don't quote me on this, 'cause I don't know the exact word for that practice that he was doing with kneeling on a person's back. But that is taught to the officers for them to use that force for whenever they deem necessary. So again, do we complain about the situation or do we go after that law? In history, you can get laws changed. Right now, we have the influence. We definitely have the influence and the support from the community to get these laws changed, but we're not working to change the laws. We're not working to change these laws. What's happening in these communities across the board is you have crooked laws. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I've looked into every case because I have not. So when you ask me about certain cases that I don't know, I can't speak on those. But from the cases that I do know, that is what some people call it the area of shaded gray, where something is not illegal but it's not legal. And then so you have this case who come, for instance, the Breonna Taylor case. Now some people said that her family got justice. However, I think that was in Kentucky, where they went after the no knock warrant, which basically got thrown out. Well, before I say that, let me give you guys a receipt for that. But 1 second.
You don't need no receipts, brother. Just keep going.
Yeah. But now, what I'm saying is this, man. When we look at the task force, there are several officers in the task force that are messed up, that are crooked, that are white supremacists, that are racist, and that need to be weeded out, and they should be replaced.
So let me ask you this question. You said there are several in the task force that need to be weeded out. Here's my next question. Is it in one city or is it in several cities or majority of cities in America? Which one?
I believe that, in every city, you can find officers that should not be qualified to be an officer. You find officers that are out on the streets that are not.
So hold up. So you're saying in every city I could find officers that shouldn't be officers because they're possibly suspected white supremacists?
No, I said they should not be officers on the basis of them, one, being racist, two, not having the proper training.
Okay, brother. So now you're contradicting yourself. Doesn't that make it a system if it's the entire United States?
No, not necessarily, because it's just like you saying or making a claim right now that there aren't criminals in every community. There are criminals in every community, but every criminal in every community may not be a violent criminal. They may not be a person of this descent or of that descent. So,
okay, but there should be no criminals in the police department. That shouldn't exist.
Ideal. What you're talking about right now, that is the ideal. So the ideal is that every officer and the task force should be a good person or should be morally good. Whereas that is not the case. You have the task force that are hiring people left and right because they're understaffed. And the people
but you just said the majority of the United States have bad officers that should not be on the force. So doesn't that make it a system that we're in where there's a whole bunch of white supremacists all over the place? Isn't that a system? If it's all over the United States, does that not make it a system?
I mean, again, Rich, you're trying to get me to say that there is a system.
I'm not trying to get you to nothing. No. I asked you a question, either yes or no.
I've said no like 4 or 5 times now. Whereas, again, you can have a system set up.
Okay, so if you said no, then by definition, you're contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not.
Because you said there's not a system of white supremacy. Okay,
let me ask you this.
Wait. You said there's not a system of white supremacy. Mm-hmm. I got that. But now you just said there are bad police officers all throughout the United States. Does that not make it a system of white supremacy?
Let me ask you this. Do you eat cereal? I know that's a very ludicrous question. It's very basic, but I'm going to get to a point. Do you eat cereal?
Brother, once again, you're the guy in the car driving down one-way street.
No, the reason why I'm asking this and the reason why I keep referencing simple things like this because it's a honest question. If you look at anywhere, if you look at bananas, not every banana is going to be either green, yellow, or have brown spots on it. But that does not mean that whole rack of bananas are bad. So again, it is very possible to have bad apples in the task force, just like it is very possible to have, as you say, white supremacists in a system that are operating. But that does not make that system a system of white supremacy. I don't believe that. Now, if you can show me receipts of this, or you guys can give me examples of this, I would be more than happy to discuss this with you guys. I think, on a wide scale basis, what's happening in the communities are happening because you have crooked laws, you're having crooked judges that needs to be addressed.
Okay, let me ask this question then for you, Will. How do you feel about the thin blue line, the blue wall? Because, like you said, you're saying there's more good cops than bad cops, but we also have the blue wall that is basically told to cops that you cannot say anything against other cops, no matter how egregious it is, because of a code.
Well, again, that comes back to the task force. So whenever you have it's almost like a brotherhood. Whenever you have a brotherhood or any type of organization, it will be widely practices of you not speaking against the people in that same organization. However, in 2022, there are other officers that are speaking out against officers that are committing these crimes, that are doing things that are wrong, and that's what we need to encourage in the community. Whereas the reason why I push back so hard on that point is because you have several people of the task force that are leaving their jobs because they don't want to be labeled as certain things. The reason why that's going on is because you do have these officers that are getting more publicity, doing something bad and something wrong, and that's something that they should be punished for. Then you have of the police force that are out here helping people cross the street. They're out here doing good things for the community. They're out here supporting the community. And I think with the new black media, that's one of the points that you guys made maybe one time.
Don't name the new black media because you don't believe in nothing the new black media says.
Well, that's not necessarily.
You just said officers are helping people cross the street. I don't think nobody needs help crossing the street. I think we got that. I know how to cross the street very well.
That is a simple claim. However, there are senior citizens in every community. There are people that are blind in every community. There are people that do need help in every community, and that sometimes there are officers that are there to help them.
Do you believe in propaganda?
Well, yes, of course, propaganda is very true.
Okay. Right now, what you're spewing is propaganda talk because what you're saying, officers crossing the street, that's propaganda that NBC and CNN and all those news that's the exact thing they do. They take a video, they pretend like a officer was helping an old lady walk the street. They make it go viral on Facebook, make it go viral on Instagram, so they can have people crying and putting laughing emojis and thank you emojis, so that we can feel bad for these officers. And the next time they kill one of our children, we could feel bad and we could have some sympathy. Right now, you're just spewing white supremacist propaganda. That's exactly what you're doing.
Rich, let me ask you a question. This is a yes or no question. Is every cop bad?
Yes, in the system of white supremacy, every single cop on this damn planet is bad. Yes.
So every cop that is
correct. You asked me you said it was yes or no question. I said yes. Every single cop on this goddamn planet is bad. If you're in a system of white supremacy, and your colleagues is practicing white supremacy, then you and your motherfucking colleagues is bad. Yes.
That is false. Not every cop is bad. But you do
okay, show me the good cops. Show me the good cops. Point them out.
Give me 1 second. And now, the funny part about this is that this debate was about reparations and race relations. Where right now we're having debate over the task force.
I spanked you on that section. I'm spanking you on this.
No. So what happened earlier?
Do you have anything you want to get?
You're deviating from the actual discussion, and now we're having discussion.
So you want to go back to reparations?
No. I mean, we can stay right here where we are, because we were talking about the prison reform, because that's the point that I made. And when I made the point of the prison reform, I went about it at a different way. I said that we have to look at the people that are in prison right now that are in there for nonviolent crimes, that are in there from the crime bill or from the 3-strike law.
So who's the majority in prison? Who's the majority of people in prison right now that are you referring to? White people, black people, Spanish people? Who are they?
Rich, you answer your own question.
No, I don't know the answer. I'm asking you. Who are the people that you're referring to when you say prison reform? White people, black people, Chinese people, or Hispanic people? What group of people?
All people, but I'm mainly referring to black people,
or
minorities.
Dude, really? Are you really saying prison reform should go to all people? Are you really saying that right now?
No, you asked me who do I believe, or when I speak on these claims of nonviolent claims in the community, who am I speaking upon? I said I'm speaking on everyone in the community. However, my focal point is on Black and minority people.
That is
This is
not
what I
what you
said.
just said just now, brother. That is not
Well,
what you just said.
so the good thing about these debates is that they are all recorded. So, and you tried to do this in a former time when you said I said something that I never said. So after this debate, people can go back and listen to that, and you'll hear me make the claim again where I said that my focal point was the Black people in the community, or the Black people that are
Okay.
in prison for nonviolent crimes.
Okay, co-host, whatever direction you guys want to go. I don't know if you want to bring other people up and ask questions or whatever the
I
case may
actually
be,
have
but
2 more questions, and then we'll bring people up. And we're going to try to make these 2 fast because maybe at 11 o'clock I'm going to start bringing people up. So I'll start with Rich on this. What are your current thoughts? What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Let me mute my.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, Rich, I'll start with you. What are your current thoughts on the state of Black manhood in America, and do you believe there is a war on the Black man?
absolutely 100% there's war on the Black man. Number one is the Black man. Number two is the Black women. Number two is the Black child. There's absolutely a war on Black men, women, and children. Black man is first, Black women second, Black child third.
Thank you for that. Brother Will, you're up.
Again, could you ask the question one more time, please?
What are your current thoughts on the state of Black manhood in America, and do you believe there is a war on the Black man?
In a sense, yes.
This is the same guy who said the system of white supremacy doesn't exist. How could a system of white supremacy does not exist, but you believe in a sense that there's a war going on? That's a direct contradiction once again.
Not necessarily, because just because there is a war going on, or that there is an idea of a war going on, does not mean that it is because white supremacy. The reason why I say in a sense yes is because in history, whenever you can take the image of a person and you make that out to be bad or wrong in a community, then that is the war that you're fighting. When you're fighting,
So who's doing that? Who's doing that? Who's taking our images and painting us as bad people? Who's doing that?
This comes. I hate to do this, man, but this comes back to when we first started this conversation about
brother. Every single question I ask you, you start babbling. Just
no. So there's a difference between babbling.
Who's painting? Who's painting? So if we look at the image of the Black male, and we look at it throughout history, we look at different. That's not what I
things that
asked you, sir.
Well, the reason why it matters is because the reason why we're having this conversation is the effect of things that has happened throughout history concerning the image of the Black male. Whereas right now we have this conversation. Well, you said is there the question that the host asked?
No. I asked you a question. I said, "Who?" You said, "Black people are black men are being painted bad." I said, "Who's painting black men bad? Who's doing that?"
Okay, to give you a direct answer, I would say you have several sources in the media.
The media, you said?
Yeah, I mean, you have you have the media.
Okay, who owns the media?
Depends on which company you're talking about.
CNN.
Well, I mean, Rich.
Okay, you don't know. The answer is Robert Murdoch. Okay, NBC. Go ahead.
Well, Rich, so you're asking me questions about various groups that are all on the same page of pushing a specific narrative. Now, to get back to what I said, getting back on topic, is the war that we are fighting is not necessarily about a black or a white war. The war that we're fighting, or that I'm talking about in a sense, is the image of the Black male. The image of the Black male has been under attack for it's 2022, so over 300 something years, about 300 something years.
Okay, who's doing it? Who's doing it? Who's doing it?
Currently, you have several narratives from the media. Again, I've answered this question. Now, if you let me make my point, the reason why I'm saying this is because whenever you had and this comes back to Will Lynch that I mentioned the other day, whenever you had people or Black men in the community that were once upon a time looked at as being stable men, looked at as being independent, looked at as being the head of their family, and then that image got tarnished. And now only thing you see, you don't see many Black successful people that are getting perpetrated in the media. You're seeing more so rappers. You're seeing more so just various things. And you speak on this too, Rich, when you say if you're a street dude, you know the things you say. But that is the image that is being pushed to the community. So I think that is what we have to fight up against. That's why you have different organizations that are about showing a different image to the community about a black man. A black man is successful. A black man is strong. A black man is a provider for his family. And I believe that
Okay,
everyone in here that puts the
you
B1 agenda would agree with that.
you said it was the media that was painting black people as
Yes.
bad as all of the above. But this media that you're talking about are owned by nothing but white people.
I
Literally,
said,
time out. The Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos.
right.
CNN is owned by Robert Murdoch. All of these people are white people. So, like I said before, you said we're not in the system of white supremacy, but I proved to you that the media you're talking about is owned by white folks. I proved to you that there's a system, and you said that there are racist cops all over the United States, which that by definition makes it a system. So once again, I see that you're running from the word white supremacy and you're running from the word the system of white supremacy. You're running from those two words. So it sounds like you don't want to hold white folks accountable. You don't want to hold the system of white supremacy accountable. You don't want to hold the dominant society accountable. It sounds like I don't know, maybe it's a personal thing, or I don't know what it is, but every subject you bring up, it all leads back to white supremacy, and it all leads back to the system of white supremacy. So I just want to know what's going on. Why can't you just keep it 100 and say we are in a system of white supremacy?
Because saying that is saying something that is not true. That is very false. Now, again, when you say, well, do me a favor right now. Bring clarity to the situation. When you say white supremacy, what are you referring to?
The system of white supremacy.
What is that?
This is a system that white people control throughout all sectors of society: law, labor, politics, religion, sex, war. Every single section of society they control. Now, we mentioned economics, and I prove that white supremacists control the economy and what we do in it and how much money we make based on the two articles I mentioned from Wells Fargo's. Just those two alone. I got way more, but just those two alone. We mentioned the police department. I prove that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement all over the United States. We mentioned, so it was the economy, police, and I think it was one more. Mass media. I prove that the media you said that paints black people as bad. I prove that white folks own the media. So is this not a system to you or what?
No. Okay. So again, Rich. So what's going on right now is you're taking various things that we have talked about in this debate, and you're using them to be put into a specific category. So again, you're doing what you said that people do to you, where you're taking people's points and you're trying to mush them into fit your narrative. Now, the point that I was making earlier is that this has been something that's been going on for a very long time. When you're talking about dismantling the image of a black man in the community. Now, again, the reason why I do not say that there is a system of white supremacy is one, because I honestly don't believe there is one. However, I do believe that there are white people there are white supremacists that are in power or that are in position that needs to be replaced. Again, we can sit up. I mean, when you look at Congress, when you look at different entities in the United States, when you have people that have been up there that have outwardly supported racism or outwardly supported different things that are still making laws that some people would argue that are.
So let me ask you this question. So you don't believe you believe that there's white supremacists out there, but you don't believe it's a system. I got that. So are you saying that you don't believe white people have enough power to have a system like this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. So we haven't mentioned power at all. However, when I look at a system, man, I hate to say it like this, I look at the system completely different. So again, we can compare and argue the point of white supremacy or not all night long. However, if you ask me what system do I see a system that is about keeping certain people or certain
Okay. Okay. Wait.
even
One second.
the
I'm gonna
poor
let you go.
of the
I'm gonna
rich
let.
rich.
I'm gonna let you go. But
Right.
I'm gonna read to you the definition of system: a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or
Mhm.
interconnecting network. That's what a system is. That means it's multiple pieces put in one, all for one agenda. Now, I mentioned, well, matter of fact, you said it out your mouth that there are white supremacists all throughout the United States in law enforcement. Did you say that or did you not say that?
Well, of course.
Okay, so is that not a system? Yes or no?
Uh, Again, so this comes back to a fundamental clash. Whereas, again, I would say this all day, all night long. You do have messed up, bad people in a system that are operating. However, these same people can be replaced. If we're
Okay,
saying
that
that,
whether they could be replaced or not, that's not the
mhm,
point. You just
well,
said they're in a system. Is that not a system of white supremacy where they end up
no.
killing
So
us and shooting us
that
in the
okay.
back and get away with it? Is that not a system?
So so
You
so
mentioned
but no,
out of
Rich,
your
well, brother
out
Rich,
of
no,
your
no.
seven
Let me bring
out of your
clarity to
7
what I said.
points
So when
out
we
of
look at
out
this,
of
no, no.
your
So what we can't do, you
out
cannot
of
take my
I,
7 points and then try to get these to fit your narrative. Now, again, we still have not. I don't think we mentioned in depth when I spoke about prison reform, what exactly I wanted to see. When I spoke about financial literacy, what exactly I wanted to see. When I spoke about education. So what you can't do is take the points that I made and say, okay, well, because you made this point that you didn't explain, this point means this. No, Rich, all day and night long, or brother Rich, excuse me, I believe in civility. But when we look at a system, or when I look at a system, I look at the system for as it is. Are there messed up people in the system? Yes. Are there people in the system that should not be there? Yes. Are there bad people in the system? Yes. Should these people be removed? Yes. How do we remove these people from that position? One with money, one with power. How do we get power? You get unity. This comes right back to the first point I made with us coming together. What we're doing right now is very productive because you're having two people from opposing views that are saying in similarity and some differences that yes, there is something that we need to address. Now, the reason why I do not support saying that there is a system of white supremacy, because at the same time that you say that, you're disenfranchising the black person and or disenfranchising black power. The reason why I say that is because the only way that something can be supreme or over or dominate is if there's something that is lesser value or less powerful, and that is a very wrong statement, especially now if we're asking for equality.
okay, so are we not less powerful than white people?
Heck no, we're not. Now, again, you have 41.1 million black people in America. If we could come together, put our differences aside, we could get things done. At the same time that we're coming together, it's in history. When things got done, you had everyone in the community fighting for a specific cause. So now, if we're looking at the task force, to me,
Okay,
I think a very well, no, no.
sir.
So, Rich, no,
There
give
was,
me.
sir. Hold
I
up,
need
time out,
45
time out,
seconds
time
to
out.
make
There
this
was an
point. The
art.
reason why I need the
Time
45
out.
seconds
There was an
point
article.
is so we can get on the same
There,
point. Now, after I finish this, you can tell me about your article. But
there
before
was
that,
a
because
listen. There was an article that
well,
came out a few years ago that
Rich,
said
so
that
whenever
said,
you give a point or whenever you ask for a rebuttal, right? I will be quiet. I will let you say your whole entire point until you get it
but
out.
bro, you're
However, whenever I
babbling.
speak, no,
You're
it's a difference
babbling.
between babbling and stating facts. Stating facts. One of the reasons why slavery was in it because you had people, several people in the community who stood together to overthrow a system, to overthrow something that was messed up. And now in 2022, we can't get these same people to overturn anything because why? We're attacking the people that we need to be fighting with to overthrow something that's messed up. So if we're not willing to come together and actually have a talking point, like if we're going to go
Okay,
after police brutality, let's go
let
after
me ask you this question one more time because I need some clarity. You said we're not more powerful. You said white people are not more powerful than us, correct?
on the gist. I don't believe that any race is powerful than another
Yes or
race.
no?
Again, no, no. There
So
is no
why
group of people
is
that's more powerful than another group
so
of
why
people.
why is it that there was an article that said it would take black people literally 200 33. I think it was 233 years to catch up to white people. Why does that article exist? Why did that why did they come up with that article? Are they lying? Because you said we're not more powerful. We are more powerful than white people. How is it that we're more powerful than them, and it's going to take 233 years to catch up to them? Please answer.
It takes another one of my points where we talk about the education system. So whenever you now again, I would have to read that article so I can understand.
So basically, they're more powerful because we're not educated. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Also,
I never said that we were not educated. But if you look at the education system in inner city schools or in schools that are or in communities, that are low income, and you compare these schools or the school districts or even the productivity of that school compared to a school in the suburb, you will see that schools in the suburb graduate at a higher rate. Why? Because they get better information, they have better teachers, they have better this, better that. Whereas you have school zonings in different communities that make students go to this specific school because that is the zone that you live in, no matter if it's a good school, no matter if it's a bad school.
Basically, what you're saying is they're ahead of us by 233 years because they have opportunities in us, such as schools and zoning and all of that stuff. Is that what you're saying?
No. So if we're going to deal with what put a certain group of people ahead of other groups of people, we have to look at the different periods that there have been in the American history, which is getting back on the points that I made earlier. When you had the Homestead Act, when you had different acts which really allowed Western civilization to thrive based upon European descent, or for basis of the conversation, a specific group of people being white, when they were basically
let
given
me ask you this question.
all this stuff.
Wait, guys. Whoa,
to expand, and then you have one group of people that
I got.
All right, hold on, guys. I appreciate the liveliness, but we got to keep this moving. I know you guys got more to say.
I got one more question. Quick question. I just got one more question for him.
Please make it quick.
During slavery, do you believe we were in a system of white supremacy during slavery? Yes or no? Will is Googling the answer, guys.
No.
Give him a minute.
No, I don't have to Google anything. The reason why I hesitate to answer this question is because if I answer
yes
I'm not,
or no?
I'm not going to answer that question, man. What I will, and the reason why I won't answer that question is because if I say yes or if I say
not
no,
answer the question.
No.
Hey, wait. We can't do that. He asked the question. We can't do that.
No,
because what's going to end up happening is you're going to set yourself up when I start bringing the people up. You're not going to want to answer their questions. I don't want this to divulge into some bullshit.
Yeah, hey, answer the question, Will. That was an honest
answer that question. That's not right, because then Rich is going to be able to start saying when you ask him questions, he's going to refuse it. We can't have this. I don't want people to think that you're dodging questions and you don't have answers.
Hey, fact, brother, this is a Black Alpha debate, man. We get real live and dirty, and we say what we got to say. And
we're not going to criticize your answer. If that's the way you feel, just let your feelings out.
In a sense, I would say yes and no. The reason why I would say yes and no is because back in the slavery days, you did have a slave trade that was going on that implemented everywhere, that happened everywhere across the world. So I think that is it's not a tough question, but again, so the reason why I hesitate on saying yes is because I know that it was a system that happened across everywhere in Africa and Asia, everywhere, where slaves were traded for goods, for services. But the reason why I would also say yes is because you had different people that literally studied how to make the so-called Negro. So that's why I say that's a tough question to ask. I can't give a yes, and I can't say yes and no. Was it a system like how we see today on the basis of what you guys are mentioning or what's being mentioned as white supremacy. In that sense, I would say yes. On the sense of a wide scale basis, I would say no, because on the basis of it happening everywhere.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we are at the end of the debate, so I will give each brother 60 seconds, 60, to give their final thoughts to everyone, and then we'll start allowing speakers to come up. I'm going to start bringing speakers up now. So speakers, once I bring you up, please mute your mic while the brothers are talking for the next 2 minutes. And then I will call your name and you will ask your question. And then you will be put down in the queue so I can keep it rotating. So I will flip a coin right now to see who will go first to give their final thoughts. So hang on. I'm going to let whoever call it in the air. Will, Rich, who wants to call it in the air?
Heads.
Okay, flipping now. It is heads. So, Will, you may have 60 seconds to make your final thought.
Yes, I believe that as Black Americans, we need to come together, work toward a common goal. I believe what happened tonight was a very great debate. Brother Rich was able to give his standpoint on several ideas that he had, and I was able to do the same thing. I believe that some of the points that he made, it will help me grow in some areas, and some of the points that I made hopefully help him grow in some areas. But thank you guys for the debates. I'm looking forward to the questions from the panel.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Brother Will, and thank you for your participation. We know, you know me, I'm down here in Atlanta as well, and it's late, so we appreciate it. Brother Rich, you are up. 60 seconds. Give your final thoughts.
I have nothing to say. My work speaks for itself.
All right, with everybody, with that said, send in requests. We're going to speak to the brothers. If you got any questions to ask them, but keep it real, keep it cool. We say Brother Rich and Brother Will. You know what I'm saying? Don't say you got to call them that, but we call, when I speak to them, Brother Rich and Brother Will, which means we all on the same thing. So don't come at them smashing on them or yelling and none of that stuff, man. They've been cool. If these brothers can have this type of debate without it getting too hot, even though it got a little hot, even if they can have this debate in a cool manner, we can have the questions in a cool manner. So everybody come on in and let's get it on.
May I make a request? Can I have Brother Will and Brother Rich with the waving emoji give the soul brother handshake? May I get that? Brother Will, Brother Rich, y'all got to change the skin tone of your waving emoji.
Yeah,
Unless y'all
new
try
to
to tell me
Twitter, so I
y'all
don't know how to
Asian.
do that.
Unless y'all gonna tell me y'all Asian or you're one of the Simpsons, y'all got to change that. Thank you, Brother.
I'm Blasian. I'm Blasian.
My nigga. Thank you. I appreciate that. Black love. B1. Okay. Let's get started. Brother Lloyd, you are the first question. So please, with your question.
It's more of a comment and then and a couple of questions.
We limited it to one question, brother. One question, because I have a lot of people coming into the rotation.
Okay, well, first, let me say this. I listened to the debate, and somebody made the comment that most of the people in this room are under 40. And I'm a lot older than that. So I was really disappointed to hear some of the things that I heard tonight. To Will's point, I think it's Will. Yeah, Will's point. He's absolutely right. You can't have white supremacy if you don't subscribe to the idea of Black inferiority. And I think that what I have not heard is that we are powerful people. No one talked about how we've survived 400 years of slavery and oppression. No one talked about that. No one talked about how we got to ride in front of a bus. Not the fact that we were able to do it. What's important is how we were able to get there. So when I was really disappointed to hear all this talk about what white people do and nothing about what we can do about it. Nothing other than we have to fight. We just have to do what we've done for 400 years that worked. And I do apologize. If you were born in 1980 or 40 years ago, that would have been around 1980. The crack epidemic and HIV and prison industrial complex really destroyed a whole generation of people because they don't know how we got here. And I'm really disappointed that that to hear the negative and not the positive of who we are and what we can accomplish. And I'd like my question is, how does one get invited to be in the debate?
Make sure you DM me, Black Alpha Network, right here. Hit up the host or the co-host, Queen Alpha, Black Alpha. Hit me up, DM me right now. Whatever, we'll set something up. It's all good. We appreciate that. Brother Will want to respond.
Right. First, I want to say thank you for your comment. And I also want to reference that I actually did cover. Well, I was planning on covering one of my points, which was about the as Black Americans that should do private research is slavery. In a sense, if you teach a person that they came from slavery, that's the only thing they ever were, you'll send them out in the community to become anything else other than a slave. At the same time, keep that person captive, opposing to teaching them about the doctors, about the physicians, about the teachers, about the scientists, and about just different accomplishments that we have made. That's what's hurting our community. There's not enough education on how far we've come and who has helped us get there.
All right. Rich, you have anything to say to that?
If that brother Lloyd wants to get this work too, he's welcome to come. I'll take him on. He wants to debate, be my guest. He got Black Lives Matter in his bio. As far as I'm concerned, I won the debate already.
Brother
All right,
Lloyd,
good luck.
DM me if you're listening. Hey, DM me if you're listening, Brother Lloyd. Hit me up. Richard say he'll line him up, knock him out. Hit me up. Let's get to it. BAD, Black Alpha Debate.
Yes, sir. And this next debate with this will be while the sun is setting. I just want everybody to know that. But we're going to keep it rolling. Poe Wisdom, you have a question? You may speak.
Yeah, I got a question. I didn't catch the debate as far as from the beginning, but I want to know, is Will a foundational Black American? Because it sounded like he kept saying financial Black American.
No, I was saying foundational Black American, and yes, by definition, I am.
You are. Okay,
Yeah.
now my next question is this. Why is it so hard for you to see the reality of what Black people go through in America? It's like you just playing devil's advocate just because the creative talking point that leads us just going in circles. The topic is about reparations, and yet the first thing you say is we all should come together. Then you say education. Education from the same system that oppresses us makes absolutely no sense when we can take cash reparations and build our own systems. So it's like and then you saying you don't believe in white supremacy and you're going through all this babble, and that makes no sense to me neither, because whether you believe in it or not, it's still a system that exists. And I just feel you just basically, for lack of better words, was just cooning just cuz. And that's all I got to say, unless you want to rebuttal it.
No, he'll rebuttal it because you asked him directly, but we're going to move you down so I can keep the rotation going. But I appreciate you coming up and asking your question. Will, you may respond. Brother Will, go ahead. Brother Will, you may speak.
Now,
Is it me or did nobody hear what he said?
No, I didn't hear it either. Brother Will, we can't hear you. Bring on the next question.
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Say something.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened. Sorry about that, guys. Pro Wisdom, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for what you said. To answer your question, man, well, you asked me a few questions. To answer your question, the reason why I was not able to talk or speak basically on the point that I gave up about education. But when Brother Lloyd did come up, I did mention that a second ago. Whereas, again, if you aren't teaching people that, or aren't teaching us that we came from doctors, from physicians, from just different people that had a great influence on a commercial, you're showing people a very limited places that they can go. So that's one of the points that I would have been making, but we were not able to touch that on that tonight. Again, when me and Brother Rich were talking, I said, now if we could have had maybe 60 seconds to say about or to talk about the system that I say is in place, it would have brought light to answer your question, man. The reason why I do not believe in a white supremacy system is because that outright says that Black people are inferior, and I don't believe that we are. I believe that you have a system in place that are keeping the rich rich and the poor poor. It doesn't matter if you're Black, white, or Hispanic. We have to have a straight out plan on how we can make our lives better and how we can make our people's lives better.
Thank you so much for your response. Let's keep it going. FB Intelligentsia, you are up. FB, you're up. See, Black Alpha, this is why I tell you we got to do it earlier, bro. You got people falling asleep on the phone.
Hey, then he shouldn't have requested.
I know. FB, you got one more shot, then I'm going to put you down in the queue. All right. I'll put you down in the queue. You want to ask your question, just request again. All right. Let me put them down there, and we are going to go up to, let me see, I believe we have the next person coming up, Shantae. You may ask your question. Yes, ma'am.
Good night, everybody. Only thing I wanted to say was that the young man, Will, your rhetoric that you are really sprawling out, I can't get with it. For the simple fact, when you tell people that we need to teach our children, I have nieces and nephews and a whole bunch of cousins that study astrology. My son, he built houses. My daughter sell houses. My grandmother is a nurse. We are constructively, only thing we do is work. So when you tell people we got to teach each other better, we know better. I come from a family that's actually well off. So all these people talking about something we don't know no better, at the end of the day, my family still know our history. And our history comes from a place to where as though people don't like us. So even if I go down to South Amboy or wherever, because my family got money. So I could be sitting up there chilling in their backyard on their porch. And it's been times to where as though our next door neighbor, white people, will actually today try to sick their dogs on us, just trying to be funny. So all this little talk, oh, we got to do better, I don't understand where it's coming from. Yeah, we come from slaves. We come from whatever. But till this day, we still going through the same damn thing. So by you saying that, it's making me feel some type of way. Because I got cousins. He got his own studio and everything down there in North Carolina and everything. And he even know better from saying anything that you saying out your mouth. I got a cousin right now that's 28 years old. One that's into, what do Tanija do? Tanija do all types of stuff. She makes money. That's all we do is make money. But we still know we black at the end of the damn day. My little cousin, little Sydney, he go back and forth to Italy at least twice a month to go visit his girlfriend because he dating some little white Italian girl. But little Sydney was a football player. And at the end of the day, he still know he is black wherever he go. So I don't really get where you coming from. And then when it come down to this American history, even back in the slavery day, my great-grandmother and all them, we was always flooded with white immigrants. So if you are an immigrant, a black one at that, black people in America, we've always had to fight Italians, Irish, and every damn thing that came up over here for us. So for you to say that, it's making me feel like you ain't one of us. I don't know who you are. You came up over here probably off the strength of us for keep fighting. Don't say that, oh, we don't know no better. Because everybody in my family know better. The only thing about it is we still know at the end of the day, we are black. Don't get that twisted. I don't come from no poor family. So I don't come from no projects, nothing like that. My family got money. But we still are who we are. Don't get that twisted. And I ain't mean to be disrespectful. I apologize. And I think they probably hung up on me.
No. I'm still here, Miss Shantae. Hey, thank you so much for your comment. Thank you for listening to the debate. I just want to give you a little bit of clarity. I never and once have I ever said that we did not know better. I'm so happy to know that your family is prominent and that you guys are doing good. I hope and pray that you have much success and that does not slow down. However, I was speaking on us as a whole entirety. As a whole entirety, there is no financial. There's not or a traceable amount of financial literacy. Whereas you do have several families who know nothing about the credit system. They know nothing about building credit. They know nothing about generating generational wealth. That is what, when I spoke on financial literacy, it was never to put any of our people down. Again, if you're doing great, I applaud that. I salute that. However, I'm looking at the ones that do not have that information, who do not have those skills. And unless we do something different, they will not get these skills. That is what I'm lobbying for. And I never thought you were disrespectful. Hey, thank you again so much for your comments. If I made you feel the type of way, I apologize. Everything that I said tonight was based upon the facts I have found and my ideal. Now, my ideal may not be your ideal, and that's why we have these debates and conversations. So continue to listen and tune in. Black Alpha Network, he's a great host, and if you would like to speak on the subject again, I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Thank you for that. All right, let's keep it rolling. Brother Lowe, you are up. Ask your question to either Rich or Will.
Good evening, everybody. Will, all right, you stated that is that white supremacists, we need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of them. But it's been going on so long. Is it now just generational? So it has to be a system. I just want your response on that. Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. Hey, and thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for listening to the debate. Thank you so much for your question. To give you an answer. When you speak about there being white supremacists that have been in power or have been in position for a very long time, in that sense, this is what we see. And in America, you'll see a specific family who will be a senator, who will stay in the Senate seat for 47, 50 something years, and they will never change. We as the people have the power to change all of this. I hate to say it, but racism is taught in some areas in our country. I had a talk with a gentleman the other day when we were talking on that subject. He was he is a Caucasian white male, and he did reference to me that he was raised to be racist. His family, they practiced that. And we had a great conversation about that. And I said, well, man, you have the right to be different. Just because your parents or your grandparents, he was raised by his grandparents. But just because your grandparents taught you that way, that doesn't make it right. But to answer your question, man, we do have people that are racist that are operating in the system. However, I will not ever say that there is a system that puts us at the bottom, because I think in order to, if you go into something thinking that you are defeated, then you already have a defeated mentality, opposed to going there thinking that you are great and you become a victor.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that question and that response. Let's keep it going. FB Intelligentsia, you are up.
My apologies for earlier. My phone started spazzing out, but I have a question for Will. I'm going to read a quote from Lincoln and Douglas. They had a presidential debate back when I guess he was running for president, and they accused Lincoln of being sort of soft on our ancestors, foundational Black Americans. Lincoln says in his defense of white supremacy that, and inasmuch as they cannot live while they do remain together, talking about Black and white people, there must be a position of superior and inferior. And I, as much as any other man, am in favor of having the superior position assigned to the white race. So my question to you is, we're talking about the presidential level, highest level you can get in this country in terms of leadership of our system. Do you think he was speaking about his personal feelings or a position of white supremacy that he was going to enact on our ancestors? And also, when do you think they stopped that system? If we're going to acknowledge that there was a system, when do you think that system stopped? If you could give us a specific date, that'd be great.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for listening to debate, and hey, thank you for your question. To get down to it, we're talking about in 1865 when you were talking about a debate between Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. When he was speaking, that from what I can interpret, I think that he was speaking about on his own beliefs or the way that he was raised. This can go on all night, where you do have certain people who were raised to believe that there was a superior race, but not at the same time that he thought he was superior. I believe that Frederick Douglass thought he was superior as well. So again, I support the ideology that if in order to recognize that there is supremacy, it means that there is inferiority somewhere else. We are not inferior. Now, we were treated wrong. We may be behind a little bit in some aspects, but we are equal. We are strong. And some people will argue, and I will argue, we are stronger. We are powerful, and we can do more. And that is what I stand on.
Hey, before we go any further, let me jump in real quick. I got to tell since we got a lot of people in the room, this is a new Black media creation. So please make sure you follow the host. That's Black Alpha Network, Queen Alpha. Make sure you follow Kid Gravity and my brother Afro Elite. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. And anybody who wants to continue or make another debate, DM me and we will set that up. Let's keep it rolling.
Yes, sir. And also, tomorrow night, I will have the recap for this. So anybody wants to come on to the show then, I will send out the link a few hours beforehand. Send it out. Tell your people. We'll allow everybody to come on and give their opinion. But we're going to keep it going with Yikes.
Yes, thank you for having me on. And thank you, Black Alpha Network. I really appreciate it, everything earlier. And I really appreciate you for having the space. And thank you, hosts and co-hosts, for having me on. I would like to ask Mr. Will a question. Is he aware that the origins of white supremacy actually made democracy popular in the United States before any other things that he was talking about, that literally this country united itself, the white supremacists united themselves under the guise of white supremacy only because African slaves came to America? Are you aware of that? Thank you.
Could you do me a favor before you step down? Could you rephrase your question again? I didn't catch it.
Are you aware that the father of white supremacy in America was Canadian and was a person who noticed that as white people brought slaves into the country, that he could be united with other white people on the basis of them being white and superior to black people, which is what made democracy popular in America amongst different white groups? Thank you.
Okay, so you're asking me if I knew that white supremacy was the basis of everything. Again, I'm not a person who supports the claim of white supremacy because it'll make our race become inferior. So no, I don't support that claim. However, if we look at the history of it, and in the beginning of everything, you had what you call people who came over here and took over land and then brought workers here, or matter of fact, slaves here to thank you, brother. Black Alpha, thank you for having me on. Y'all, excuse me for not being given that homage at first. But to answer the young lady Yikes question, I'm not going to acknowledge there being any superior being because I believe that we are superior ourselves. You did have people in power who did make horrible decisions, who did do horrible things. And that's why we're having a debate tonight on reparations, on how we should get them.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, FB Antonio, you are up.
Thank you for giving me the mic, Black Alpha, all that, co-host and all that. Be one. I just want to point out first, Rich asked this brother a question. Do you believe that we were under the system of white supremacy during slavery? He had two answers, yes and no. That speaks for itself. So I understand why Rich didn't want to comment with 60 seconds. But my question is, y'all mentioned, and even Lloyd down here, I think he's still in the room, but it's not directed to him. Will co-signed it. And y'all have this thing where y'all don't believe in black inferiority because y'all trying to dismiss supremacy. Well, a tiger is an apex predator where he's at. So if there's a contester animal that would like to challenge him, they cannot believe he's superior. 10 times out of 10, he'll win. So we got to focus on replacing the system of white supremacy. If you don't believe it's a system, you're stuck. There's nothing that you can do. You got to do more educating yourself. I land my plane right there.
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, I just want to add on to that because, as usual, our brother FBA and Antonio, he always makes some excellent points. If you don't recognize it as a system, then how do you look at black folks and say, you know what, let's become a team? Because if you just look at it as a one-on-one individual thing, then it won't be that much of a problem to you because you'll be like, oh, when I experience white supremacy, that's just a personal thing. But when you look at it as a system, now you start looking at other black people next to you, like, okay, let's team up. Let's talk about it. Let's team up. Let's come up with some plans. Let's come up with some strategies. When you don't look at it as a system, then it's not much of a problem to you. It's a simple one-on-one thing that happens when you get stopped by the cops, or when you at the mall and you inside the store and you're shopping and somebody's following you. It's just a simple thing. It's not that big of a deal. So that's why we mention it as a system, because when you mention it as a system, now you start working as a team. When we don't mention it as a system, then it's just individuals getting into situations. That's all it is.
Will, would you like to respond?
Yeah, and this response is mainly towards Rich. This is why during our debate, I was trying to get that basis of grounds, because again, and I'll keep saying this, man. If we look at it like how you just said, we have to come together. If we look at it in history, it took a whole entire community coming together as a whole. That means black, white, Asian, everyone, Hispanic. We all came together and we overthrew a system or a power or even a position that we didn't like. And we can do the same thing today, but it comes with all us getting on the same grounds. The reason why I don't support the white supremacy claims is because it disenfranchises what our actual goal is and what our target is. I'm pretty sure no one, or I'm pretty sure no one in here believes that they're inferior. So because of that,
let me just say this real quick. You can't win a game if you don't face the fact that you're losing. There's no way you're gonna win a game and you telling everybody you win it. The only way you start to win a game is when you realize that you're losing, and then you start putting more effort. Every time you say this, every time you say, "Oh, I'm winning," or everything is going fine, you're not gonna put any work. This is why during the fourth quarter in the NBA games, these basketball players go the hardest, because they know they're losing or they're about to lose. So if you sitting here like, oh, everything is fine, we're cool, we're winning, then now you have nothing to fix. You have no urgency. The reason why you have to be 100% honest with yourself is so that you could assess what's going on and make the proper adjustments. If you don't assess what's going on, if you don't keep it real with yourself, then nothing will change. And that's not a response to you. I'm just generally speaking.
right? And I'm just going to respond to that. And generally speaking, so I like games like chess that teaches you strategy, teach you how to strategize. So if you're sitting at the table from a chess master, and he's advancing on the board, and you take a step back and you look at your end goal. Your end goal is to get a checkmate. That is your end goal. You don't focus on nothing that the other person is doing. Why? Because you have your end goal and protect your king at the same exact time. I use life as a game of chess, whereas I look at everything that's going on. I analyze the situation, and I make a move based on my endpoint. So I think when I look at a strategy, I look at the endpoint where I'm trying to get to, and I don't see I don't see at this time, I don't see the significance in acknowledging a system as superior when I don't believe that we are inferior.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Brother Beatzilla, you are up.
What's going on, everybody? Can you hear me good?
Yes, sir. B1.
All right, B1, Black First, everyone. I want to first address 400 years in this country. we can clearly see that there's a superior system. That does not mean that we ourselves who built this country, who have great pride in our ancestors building this country, whose blood and bones are on this land, building this country, those who came here by way of slave ships, and those like myself who are indigenous to this land before the slave ships even came, going back to the 1500s. When we say white supremacy, that means a system of control. It is not looking at a people as they are superior to another people outside of the system of control to which they control. And right now, we can clearly see the system of white supremacy is on full display. Billions of dollars going to save white people who aren't part of NATO or the EU because they're white. Not because they're part of any kind of political party, simply because they're white. To ignore the system of global white supremacy's domination, which has capitalized off of free labor in America, which has built the entire planet's wealth, is a travesty. To even hear in 2022, when we are looking at the world's wealth before our face, it was built off of America, and America was created by the free labor of slaves, indigenous, and those brought to this land. That is the only level of superiority that you need to understand. That is not to neglect the architects, mathematicians, creators, and all of the inventors in that guild of illiterate slaves who made nothing and something out of nothing. Multiple cities across this nation, Black Wall Streets. Black Wall Street in Oklahoma ain't the only one. So to say that we would ever look at ourselves as less just because of the system of global dominance of white supremacy never negated how our ancestors in this country looked at themselves, even on the plantations. And as soon as they got off the plantations, gained a mass of millions of wealth just a generation later. That is not a people who ever looked at themselves as inferior to anyone. And with that, I would like to understand, why would anybody think that when we say the system of global white supremacy exists in dominance means that's business? That's not a personal understanding of oneself. We do understand the difference. Do you not understand we know the difference? Brother Will.
Right before he answers, I just want to say this. Excellent points that you made, Beatzilla. Think about it. If black people looked at themselves as superior or inferior, I'm sorry, then we wouldn't wake up every day and go to work. We wouldn't wake up every day and go to school. We wouldn't wake up every day and make breakfast for the kids. We wouldn't wake up every day and pay the bills. We would just sit there and lay down. Every other person would just sit there and lay their ass down. The fact that we get up every day in a system of white supremacy that's whooping our ass in every section of white supremacy lets you know that we're superior. There's no goddamn group on this earth that will wake up and get their ass whooped every day and still wake up with a smile on their face and no complaints. That right there lets you know that we're superior. There's no way in hell we look at ourselves as inferior. How the hell did we make hip hop if we're inferior and we feel like we're inferior? How the hell did we create Black Wall Street if we felt like we're inferior? I never met a black person, even a crackhead, A black crackhead doesn't even feel inferior to white people. There's no black person on this planet that feels like they're inferior. This is why we keep saying it's a system of white supremacy. It's not that we're inferior, it's the fact that they have a system that's superior to what we got going on. And that's the only thing it is. It has nothing to do with genes. It has nothing to do with their ability. It's just about a system that's cheating us every single day, but we still wake up superior to that system.
Will, you may respond.
Okay. And this is why. Well, first, excuse me, Brother Beatzilla, thank you so much for you listening into the debate. Thank you so much for your question. You brought very good insight up to the panel, and I thank you for that. Now, to talk about what you just said, brother, I think you made some great points. I would just like to point out that, again, this is why I asked Rich several times to define what he meant by white supremacy. And after he was trying to define it, I said, well, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about when I'm saying a system. Again, I do believe that everything is set up to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. What I would like to see happen when we talk about black empowerment is if there is a complaint about the system, there's things that we can be doing now to get out of that system, where we could be starting our own business, where we could be basically that's it, starting our own business, launching our own dreams, following after them, launching our own institutions. Whereas right now, in my opinion, if we continue to just sit down or sit back and just almost complain about the system and not do anything to change that, then nothing will ever change. We'll sit here with these claims and won't be able to move forward on the basis of we're waiting for something to change that, may take longer than what we want, or may take less time than what we want. I believe in being I'm very optimistic about things. So it may take less time, but there are things that we can be doing right now. So, starting that business, starting that company that can employ 100, 1,000 people in your community that are black or foundational black Americans, I would definitely support anyone who does that.
Thank you for that. All right, B-Man, you are up.
All right. So, Will, there's a couple things here that you stated that I want to just touch on before I even ask my question. But you can also notice that as many people that are up here, they've asked specifically you, not Rich, questions. And it's more so along the lines, we aren't confused here, and it seems like you are. Rich did clearly define what white supremacy racism was, and he gave you all 9 areas of activity, starting from economics, ending with war. So he was very clear on it, and he also let it be known that it is a global thing, whereas a lot of your talking points, you're just talking about just specifically right here in America. So when you mention like equality, I won't speak for everybody else here, but that's not what we're seeking here, Will. We're not seeking equality here. We're seeking black empowerment. And then you also mentioned in portions about like the police, and there's only parts of it that have white supremacists within. I guess my question for you is, do you think that these systems in place, this police departments, the law enforcement arm of white supremacy, and or even this very system that we call democracy, do you think that it's legitimate? That's my question for you.
So
is law the way that law works here, is it legitimate to you? The way that we vote, is it legitimate to you?
I mean, in a sense, yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and drop down, and that's going to be a primary function where many of us, we ain't changing from that. It's delegitimized, and we are not legitimizing this thing.
Well, okay, and B-Man, I would love to talk to you more on this topic, because maybe there's something that you could possibly tell me. I believe I'll DM you in a second, man, and we can talk more about that. Again, when we look at the basis of what we were talking about tonight in the form of reparations, when I did ask Brother Rich to define white supremacy and on what scale, several times, in my opinion, there was not a direct answer. Whereas there were times where he mentioned different people and said that if these people own these companies, then that makes it a system. When again, not necessarily. But again, that is a fundamental dispute that we have. And again, mostly everyone in here has been following the FBA Black Media or B1 or the new Black Media for a while. I'm actually a newcomer in here. I found Rich and them 3 weeks ago, so I'm pretty sure we'll have a lot more debates. And hey, maybe one day I might change some of my stances. But as of right now, my stance still sticks the same.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. Brother Afro Elite is up. Make sure you subscribe to that, brother. But go ahead.
Thank you. First off, I want to give a special shout out to the host and the co-host. I feel like this debate has been very productive. Shout out to our brothers Rich and Will for having a respectful debate as well too. I enjoy conversations and debates like this. I have a lot to say, but I understand that a lot of people have a lot to say, so I'm not gonna bombard you with a lot of different questions. I will say I was confused. I was confused of what you said about chess, because as a player of chess, you can't just play it offensively. You have to play it defensively as well too, and you have to adapt to the other person's position. So you can't say I'm not going to pay attention to what the other person is doing. I'm just going to move by myself. So I was a little confused with that, but I'm just going to go to my question. When we were talking about the police, and you were saying that there's like gray areas in the laws and there's loopholes in the laws, and that there's not necessarily a white supremacist element as far as police brutality or law enforcement, is just specific bad people using specific, loopholes in the law. I have a question, because in Minneapolis, there was a black officer named Muhammad Noor who accidentally killed a white woman named Justine Damon. And all of the evidence, including his partner that was there, witnessed and said that Muhammad Noor completely acted in self-defense, and he was pretty much justified as it being an accident. But yet his accident got him sent to jail for 12 years. There was a white woman whose name was Kelly something, the woman who said she pulled out her taser, but it was actually her gun, and she shot a black kid, and she was sentenced for, was it 3 years or 4 years? She was sentenced for a small percentage in comparison, and I bring that example up. But that's not the only example I can bring up. But why is there, even in the same state, now both of these things happened in the same state, is the same situation where both of these officers claim that they had split-second reaction times to make a decision, and they made a mistake and it was an accident and they didn't mean to take the person's life. Why is there such a grave difference when it comes to punishing black officers for mistakes they make against white civilians, versus when a white officer does something to a black civilian, they can get away with the fact that, oh, this was self-defense, I didn't mean to. If that's not a system of white supremacy, why is there such a grave black and white double standard?
Okay. Alpha Elite, man, I'm so happy you pulled up tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your question. And your comments, man. I would even look forward to doing a debate with you. But
I'm open to that. I said I'm open to that.
Yes, sir. But to answer your question, man, in a gist, I have not read the report about the Officer Moore. But I have read, because I haven't heard about it, but I have read the report of the young lady you're speaking about. Whereas the reason why I can't give a comment on Officer Moore, because I honestly don't know that case. I don't know what happened. I don't know the facts surrounding that, so I can't give a response to that. But now with the other officer, the female officer that shot the black boy, that is a case where I've said earlier where you do have laws in place, where you do have a person who was on the task force who's made that mistake before. And there has to be there's something that is fundamentally wrong or being taught to officers there. And that is why I said we have to follow up with a lot of these laws. We have to hold a lot of these people accountable for what's going on. If we're not out there lobbying to change the law or lobbying to change the practice of what they're being taught, then that is giving a room for that to happen again. What I'm about is empowering the next person to go out there and help change that. We go out there, we have these marches, these rallies about changing that law. We're going after that specific practice or that specific consequence that we want to see happen, and that's how we get that done. So hopefully that answered that or touched on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. Let's keep it going. Black, not Democrat. You're up.
Hey, thanks for letting me ask a question. Shout out to the host and the co-host. I love these type of spaces, and unfortunately, I joined this space right before the host did the coin toss. So my question is based on the title, and it's for Brother Rich. In light of the political climate in Washington, D.C., and the dramatic decline in Black Democrat support for the Democrats and President Biden, it's pretty clear that the Republicans will be in control of the House of Representatives and possibly the Senate for the last 2 years of President Biden's presidency. So my question, Brother Rich, where do you think reparations will go, considering it is a platform for the Democrat Party to get Black votes? What direction do you think reparations is going to go with the Democrats and with young Black voters like yourself and people in this space who it's clear that are not happy with the Democrat Party? Where do you think reparations is going to go in 2023, 2024? Thank you.
Great question. I believe that the topic of reparations will go wherever. I won't say wherever, but I'll say this: if we're sitting at the table, which we are doing right now. I mean, when I say we, I mean Black people. If we're sitting at the table, whoever comes to us to that table and speak to us and offer us what we're asking for, that's where it will go. So just to reiterate, if Republicans come to us and they provide for us what we're asking for, then that's where reparations will go. If Democrats come to us and they offer us exactly what we're asking for, that's where reparations will go. So there is no one place that reparations will go. Wherever wherever that topic is being received is where we'll go. We're not a group of people who are, stuck on one political party. There's no other group on this planet that's stuck on one political party. Whoever's offering them tangibles, that's the direction to go. So this reparations topic will go anywhere it needs to go, as long as we get what we're asking for. And when I mean we, I mean foundational Black Americans. As you guys know, I'm not a foundational Black Americans, but I do speak on behalf of my foundational Black American brothers, and I never overstep those boundaries. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Will, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I would just reference because I know he touched on the Democrats and the Republicans, but I hate to give this reference, but we did have a president who actually did propose something for reparations, and it was the platinum package that President Trump brought to the table. So that has happened with the Republicans. I think that on a wide scale basis, now right now we are in a two-party system, so it's either Republican or Democrat, and we have to pick one. I'm a conservative, and I lean more toward the Republican side. But with that being said, I think a lot of times with these Democrats, they will present a lot of these plans, and it won't have anything in it. You'll have to sit up there and try to qualify to get whatever they present. That's why in California, they just now decided to say that reparation to be owed to people that lineage is about slavery, where I think they discussed that 4 or 5 years ago, and they're just now deciding it. So it's kind of like a plan they use just to get people's votes. So we all have to be mindful of that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Make sure you follow Black Alpha and myself. Tomorrow we'll have the recap. If anybody wants to come on, DM me. I will send you the link. We'll let you have time to say what you want to say. But we're going to keep going with Cadillac.
Hey, thanks y'all for having the space, man, and thank y'all for giving y'all ideas and your beliefs on your political views dealing with this whole
Yeah,
matter that
speak
we
up a
talking
little
about here.
bit.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I was
That's
just
a little
saying
better.
thank y'all for having this debate, and this whole process that's going on. Good thing the thoughts, people were able to get their thoughts out there. I would just like to say this, man. I go to a lot of um city council meetings and stuff like that, advocating for, where they want to give, $70 million to, build police sub precincts in the black community. I go and tell them, well, hey, won't y'all give some money to prevent crime? Won't y'all open up some trade schools so we could get to the kids 11, 12, 13, go ahead and put them in there, let them apprenticeship, let them make them some money so they're not breaking the houses and stealing and robbing and killing. You see what I'm saying? They tell me the same thing this brother who's been on here all night say. Oh, no, it's not a problem. We give them recreation. We let them play basketball. We just built this gym. They can box. They can play soccer. They can play all these games. You know what I'm saying? While at the end of the day, that's bull crap because y'all giving the police millions of dollars, but you're not giving anything for prevention. And when I hear this brother speak, he sounds just like these politicians. I just got out the shower. I've been still listening on my Bluetooth, but it's this brother. He sounds just like these politicians. So I just feel like the brother being groomed for to be some type of politician, and he has that double speak, that forked tongue, where everything I say, oh no, we're not going to give anything to black people. We're going to do something for everybody. That's that same talk. You see what I'm saying? That's what I hear through all of the mumbo jumbo. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like it behooves me because you actually have people, the conservative brother. That's what I'm talking about. You actually have people who literally go out and feel the same way while doing nothing for their people, doing nothing tangibly, you know what I'm saying, for their own communities, but oh no, let's do it for all the minorities. That's what I hear when I hear this brother talk. So y'all be very aware of that. That's all I wanted to say.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Let's keep going. I am going to bring up Quasi. So, Quasi, you may speak. Quasi, go ahead.
So, all right, I'm on now. Cadillac, he actually took my point that he sound just like a politician with the forked tongue, with the double speak. And to me, anybody who don't think that white supremacy exists, I automatically feel some type of way. I shut everything down. And I end on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All right. I didn't think you were going to be that quick, but okay. Let's bring up Lee. We roll, we roll, we roll, we roll, we roll, we roll. Lee, you may speak. Lee, go ahead.
Hello. Can y'all hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I totally disagree with everything. Like, with all due respect, I totally disagree with everything this brother has been saying. I don't even know if I can call him that, to be honest. Like, he comes off as someone who's like from some, like, I know a lot of people from Africa. He sounds just like someone from Africa. You know, he sounds like he has nothing in common with anyone here in the United States. His lineage or his traditions are nothing like ours. He's the type to go out and push Anthony Fauci's shots on us, you know, promote that.
Damn, brother, what did I do? What did I do?
I'm just saying. You come off like you have nothing in common with us. Like our interests would never align. You know, like we would never be allies, and you're just it's like it's a cloud. You're putting up some type of shroud of smoke.
What did I say or what did I do, brother?
I'm talking about the conservative guys. This you?
Oh! I thought you was talking about me. My bad, bro. I'm so sorry. My bad. I thought you was talking about me. My bad.
No. You see that dead raccoon up there? Saying, "No, I'm fucking with you." No,
hey,
that's too graphic. That's too graphic. That's too graphic.
Dude, we ain't finna do that.
Whoa, we can't do that.
Calling. We've been
on
we
for
can't do
3
hours. We're not starting the name calling.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, this been solid. We appreciate your statement.
I'm not calling him a raccoon at the end of the day. I want y'all to hear that too.
Yeah, I don't even want that term in here, man. That brother, he came in here and this alliance there.
At the end of the day, I'm not talking about him. That's what y'all.
Okay, I feel you, brother. I feel you.
I'm not talking.
No, hey, no.
Y'all are talking about
made, though, brother.
But y'all go ahead. That's all. I got you, bro. Y'all go ahead.
All right, point made.
All right,
100. Listen, I gotta say this to everybody. Brother Will came in here. This the Lions Den. This B1s. This some FBAs. There's some certified blacks, and we real up in here, and we very, really solid, and we don't play no games. So for the brother to come in and listen and sit here and take the heat that we was gonna give him, and we knew it was gonna happen, but the brother took the heat and he answered the questions. You know, even if we didn't agree with it, because I didn't agree with everything, but the brother's commendable for coming up in this space. So I give him a salute for that one. And like cooning or any stuff like that, I'm gonna leave that on the corner. But go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. We're going to keep that going. Will, you would like to respond?
Yeah, I'm good. Only thing that I would say is this is what I was speaking on. Just because a person has a different view than you doesn't mean that you can't talk to that person. Y'all can't come to a reasonable means. That's what we did tonight. Several points that Brother Rich brought out, I didn't agree with, but at the same time, I understood where he was coming from. And I'm pretty sure there were some points that I brought out that he dang sight didn't agree with but still gave me some insight as well. And same thing for him, at least I would expect. But nevertheless, man, everyone has their own ideology. Everyone has their own views. Thank you all for tuning into the debate. And we'll look forward to the next question.
Thank you so much. Let's keep it rolling. Brother Nino, you are in the building. You may speak.
First and foremost, salute to Brother Black Alpha.
Whoa, hold on. This Nino?
Yes,
I ain't even recognize the profile, brother.
Well, it don't matter. My page suspended. I don't even know how I'm in the space right now. I got.
This ain't the same. This ain't the same Nino. Remember, he said this is the first time on Twitter ever.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, my bad.
Like I said, I'm already suspended. They got me today, so I'm the same one. Fuck it. But anyway,
B1 salute, brother.
Yeah, B1. All right, I'll try to be real brief. I just want to make a few brief comments and then a question. Quick comments is first and foremost, Brother Will pointed out that Trump had a reparations plan in the Platinum Plan. That's not true at all. In fact, in 2019, Trump himself stated that he doesn't believe reparations will happen. So let's just clear that up. Second of all, there is a documented disparity in sentencing for the same crimes between black offenders and white offenders. They can be two people with the same record can commit the same crime, and nearly 100% of the time, the black offender gets the harsher treatment. Second of all, Wills pointed out that this is not a system of white supremacy. It's a system that keeps the rich rich and the poor poor. Well, I just want to point out that the black people are the one race that is disproportionately poor. And it's not because we are lazy or anything else. And my last comment before I get to my question is that Will says he doesn't believe in white supremacy because white people are not, it makes us inferior, whatever. That clearly shows that you don't understand what white supremacy is. They're in the supreme position over us. But we know they're not supreme over us just as people, because if that was the case, then they wouldn't have the biggest system of affirmative action in the world, which is white supremacy. They can't compete with us on a level playing field. So with that being said, my question to Will is this. You stated that you could not comment on the Muhammad Noir case because you were not, basically you weren't educated on it. You haven't read up on it. Well, my question to you is, how can you speak on white supremacy if you have not read the works of Neely Fuller Jr., who broke down what white supremacy is as a system in his textbook called The United Independent Compensatory? So that's my question to Will. If you cannot speak on the Muhammad Noir case because you are not well read on it, how can you speak on white supremacy as a system if you are not well read on it? The work that I'm citing is the work of Neely Fuller Jr., who in fact did break down what white supremacy is and how it operates in every area of human activity. In there.
Hey, Nino, thank you for listening to the debate. Hey, thank you for your question. I'm actually happy to speak to you, man. I know last time we didn't really get a chance to actually talk, and I look forward to speaking to you on another time as well. And if you would like to debate with me, hey, I would love to do that. Or even if you would like to conversate with me, I would love to do that as well.
My bad, Nino. My bad. But okay, so you got 3 debates lined up. All right, we gonna get that done.
Hey, before we go any further, y'all make sure you follow the host, follow Afro Elite, follow my man Beatzilla, follow Kid Gravity, and make sure you follow my brother Nino and all 7 of his pages. All right.
But yeah, to get back on that topic of what he was talking about, I actually have taken some time to listen to Dr. Fuller Jr. And I have listened to his claims on white supremacy. However, there is a fundamental, as I said here, dispute that I have with that claim. Again, and I've said several times in debate, I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. I think in the room we have mainly people that agree together. So it's easy for y'all all to want to come up and ask me a question. I'm all fine for that. I'm looking forward to the 3 debates that are coming up. Hopefully one of them will be about the criminal justice system, and I would love to debate that tonight. We were mainly trying to touch on reparations and racial relations. But thank you for your question, and yeah, I look forward to debating with you too, Nino.
Thank you, sir. So we're going to continue. Miss Monique, you may speak.
Hi, Kid Gravity. I sent you a message. I'm not sure if you got it, but check that out for me and then come back and speak to me. But I did want to catch up on one issue that I heard someone else saying. Somebody asked about the Muhammad Noor issue, along with the case where the white officer lady mistaked her taser for her gun. I'd like to say that those are 2 total different issues, 2 total different scenarios. You cannot compare the 2. For one, Muhammad Noor was in his squad car when he shot that lady, Justine Diamond. He was in his car, and I believe it was he reached over his partner and shot the lady. Okay, I think the issue in that case was that why was his partner not threatened enough to do something, but he was. Now, in the issue with the lady that mistaked her taser for her gun, that was a total different issue. What you had there was 2 officers, 3 I believe, that was in the vicinity of a moving a vehicle that was about to be moved and was moved. That was a danger to them. Whether she used her gun and meant to use her gun or used a taser and meant to use a gun was totally out of the question. I don't think
Miss Monique, I'm looking at your profile. Are you a conservative also?
Yes, I am. And I do not hide it.
Excellent. Beautiful. Would you like to debate also? Because I see you got a lot of things on your mind.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's what I had messaged Kid Gravity about.
Okay.
All right, we gonna get that set up. DM Black Alpha, we're gonna get that set up for you.
Hey, Monique, make sure you DM me. Hit me up before the night's over. We got obviously a whole list, so make sure you DM me, Black Alpha Network.
Okay.
Do you have a pick, Monique, or
Do I have a pick?
yes? Do you have someone you would like to debate with?
Oh, I want to debate with everybody on here. Whoever want to debate, I'm willing. I ain't got
Oh, she
nothing but
said she want
time.
all the smoke. She said she
All right,
wanted smoke
you
from
know what,
anybody.
Monique, we'll get that done for you. We will get
But
that done.
I
If
really
we
just
got to do a
wanted to
tag team, we'll do
clarify.
a tag team.
I wanted to clarify that Nora issue because I think y'all a lot, not y'all, but you know, certain people coming at my friend Will about that. Now he might not knew about that case, but I did. You know, I followed these things and I've been watching the court cases from front to back. I done watched George
I'm sure you
Floyd.
do. I'm sure you do.
Oh yes. When I tell you I got time, baby, I got TIME
Oh
on my
yeah.
hand.
Oh yeah.
Woo,
I got
all
time too.
right,
I
all
can't wait to
right.
debate you. Okay, Monique.
Monique, make sure you DM me so we can set this up. We're gonna have a
I'm
tag team
down. Hey,
debate.
Monique, I'm down with MAGA too. You know, make America grassroots again. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Yep. Let's
I
keep.
am going to bring up the company. I will bring them up. I'm going to allow them to speak. Make America grassroots again. All right. The company is up. They may speak.
Hello, everybody. I just want to say that, you know, I appreciate these spaces and the host that's doing a good job keeping up these spaces so that we can have these debates and everything. Just want to chime in, just be part of the conversation. I don't have any input on anything. I just want to say hello to family and everything, and let's get these reparations done.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Let's keep it going. We will put you down in the queue and we will have Hemp Custo speak. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, hello. Yep. Thank you guys for having this debate and this space. Very interesting. I'm always interested in when it comes to our own people having different opinions about our history and our struggle we have go through. I did want to touch on. Well, I did want to revert back to the Trump thing. And the brother was right. The Needle Man, I think that was his name. With Trump really didn't. He really was a nothing burger that with the platinum plan. But I can also give you things that he actually did pass. He actually did pass an executive order for the Hispanic Prosperity Plan that gave Hispanics an edge up. He also gave white farmers billions of dollars out of our tax money, while black farmers are still struggling to get theirs from decades past. And he also created a program to study black Kenyans, for masculinity. So I want to touch on that point, and I also want to ask with a question: what do you think about the white conservatives that are for reparations? Roughly concerning Richard Spencer, who had a conversation with Trudy Nasheed a few days ago, and I was very for reparations. Also of Ann Coulter, who speaks very highly of reparations, speaks of the struggle of Black Americans, and also speaks of the stealing of our of our benefits and resources from the immigration field. So I just want to speak on that, please.
Brother Hemp, before we go any further, I got two questions for you.
Yes.
First off, sound like you want to debate. Do you want to get in on this?
Oh no, this is my one. All
right, you sound like you was coming rolling.
Oh, this is one of my first times actually going on a podcast. So I post a lot of things, but I'm not there yet. So, but thank you though.
All right, it's all good, man. Hey, we taking participants, man. We line them up. I already got 5 DMs. Anyway, who are you asking your question to? Was that towards Rich? Or was that towards
Brother Will? I agree with everything Brother Rich says. He's right on point. There's no really argument with his statements.
The floor is yours, Brother Will.
Okay. I think each of the conservatives that you mentioned, they probably state their point way better than I can. So I would just encourage you to listen to following whatever interview they had, and then you'll get their point on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I will bring it up.
So let me just ask Will a question. Do you co-sign me debating Monique? Do you think she's a credible?
Yeah, of course. But now,
person?
what I will say is this, Rich. And I think you know, hopefully send me a DM, man, and me and you can talk off of this.
Yeah, please do that. And I want to bog it down with a little bit of minutia, but because we're gonna keep going. I have Ryan. I'm white for FBA. Go ahead, brother.
Hey guys, I was here earlier and I had to duck out to take care of my son, but I was listening. I don't know who was speaking, but they were saying something about like, basically following whichever Democrat or Republic Party supports reparations. I think that's kind of the way. I don't know. It's like
that was Brother Rich.
Oh yeah, that's like, yeah, I agreed with that. So I just wanted to say that, and like I think there's something to that. I don't really know, but yeah, that's kind of sounds good to me because you just got to go where it flows. So that's it. Landed.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Will, you may speak.
Yeah. Well, I have Monique. She's actually trying to get in contact with Black Alpha for the debate. But that, and I also wanted to point out a few things just real quick, and I will be brief, maybe like 30 more seconds. But I just wanted to touch on when we speak about different parties offering reparations. One of the points I was making earlier is that we have to get on the same page on what we're asking for, because what we don't want to happen is there to be a reparation package that gets introduced that no one in the community wants nor supports that gets passed. So again, we have to get on the same page of what we're asking for.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, we have gone through the queue. So I appreciate everybody coming up on the stage to ask their questions and give their comments. And respect to both brothers for answering it diligently and without emotion on the negative side. So
Let me just say this real quick, Kid Gravity. I just want to shout out to you and shout out to Black Alpha because y'all did an excellent job of hosting it and moderating it. Y'all did an excellent job from top to bottom. I want everybody in here to give them both a clap for the excellent job that they did, because they could have been biased. I didn't want them to be biased. I wanted them to be right in the middle, and they did. So I definitely want to respect that. So go ahead and follow Black Alpha and Kid Gravity. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. They do a lot of great work in the community. So I just wanted to say that. So I want everybody to give them a clap. I said that, and I only seen a few claps. So everybody give them a clap for the work that they put in. They deserve that. And that's all I wanted to say. I'm sorry. I forgot Queen Alpha. Shout out to Queen Alpha. She don't be saying nothing, but I see her over there. Shout out to Queen Alpha.
Appreciate that, Rich. Appreciate that. Now, like I said, we went through the queue. So if anybody else wants to come up and have other thoughts, that's fine. But I'm going to let FB Intelligentsia go ahead.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for the forum, and I'll try to be concise. I'm not the best speaker, but I'm a pretty good writer, actually. But nonetheless, I want to ask Will, why were you so quick to affirm that there's absolutely no white supremacy? I guess you're speaking about the system doesn't exist today, or maybe you're speaking about ever existed. But when Rich asked you about was there a system of white supremacy during slavery, you seemed very torn, and your answer was extremely duplicitous, in my opinion. So I just want to know, why were you so quick? Like, you have an answer that there's absolutely no white supremacy. You know that affirmatively now, but you seemed a little confused back then. Could you sort of edify us all why that was?
Well, yeah, of course, man. Again, thank you for coming back up, brother. To answer your question, man, to be quite simple and quite quick, it's because, again, even before I answer that question, I said, well, if I'm looking at it in the sense from what you all are claiming, so if I look at it by the definition that you all claim, my answer would be yes. But I said if I look at it at the definition of what was going on right then, my answer would be no. Again, tonight our debate was over reparations. It wasn't necessarily over white. I didn't expect the system of white supremacy to come up. However, it did, and you know, I'm pretty sure that we all, at the end of the day, it's a fundamental dispute that we have there. Again, you did have in history, you did have several slave owners who did tried to. I mean, Willie Lynch had a whole in his letter. He had a whole section about how to create the so-called Negroes. Back all the way then in 1712, and a system that he put in place for 300 years. So if you, outright, if you sit up here and you look at it, if you look at it from that standpoint, I understand you all's claim. But however, if you look at it from the standpoint of how I look at the whole entire situation, where that was something that was normal that happened, and I know to answer or to respond to a gentleman that came up earlier, he said that he made the claim of that I was quick to answer about America and not every other country, and the reason being is that we're in America. We're here. We are Americans. If you look at the name FBA, Foundational Black American. So with that being said, my focus is on what's going on here in America. Whatever goes on overseas or across seas, if we want to compare what's going on over there to over here, we have to look at how many people are sneaking to get in over here. And I believe that this is the best place to be. So that's why my debate or my topic tonight was about the debate for what's going on here in America.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. All right, Yikes, you are up.
Right before she go, I just want to clarify this. I don't have any hate in my heart for Will, even though we do disagree. He is still a brother at the end of the day. I just look at myself as a pastor, and pastors baptize people, and I just want to baptize our brother in some B1 energy. I think I'll be able to help him make that transition. But besides that, I know there's people out there who say, okay, how is this constructive? How does this benefit Black people by us having this conversation? It actually does benefit us, because Neely Fuller talks about this. He talks about having constructive conversations. And when we have these conversations, the point of having these conversations is to figure out which direction will help us get to our agenda better. So he had his points. He believed his points will get us to where we need to go. And I believe my points will get us to where we need to go. And our goal is to figure out what agenda works best for us. So this is a constructive conversation. This is a good conversation. You could have been anywhere tonight. You could have been listening to some Cardi B. You could have been listening to Future's new album. You could have been twerking or shaking your ass in the middle of your
Wait, that Future dropped. I gotta go.
You could have been doing any of that, but you in here listening to us talk about white supremacy. You listen to us talk about how we can better our community. So this is a constructive conversation. It is a good conversation.
All right, good. Appreciate that. All right, Yikes, the floor is yours.
I feel like Will has something to say. So did you have something to say?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to request for the host if y'all could bring Monique back up.
I got her. I got her in the queue.
Cool.
Thank you. Yikes, go
All
ahead.
Right. Again, I would like to thank the host. I really appreciate y'all. I actually want to just I don't understand why Will is denying the facts. And I want to say that you are actually negating factual information from your conversation. And I want to reference, because you like references and everything, because I just really don't like when people spread misinformation. So I want to get the facts right. And I want to reference a very insightful article I read. It was by Liz Minio. She was a Harvard staff writer in 2020 when she wrote her article about how textbooks taught white supremacy, actually. And if you remind yourself that, and everybody remind yourself that education is the basis of any society. You have to educate people en masse for a society to work. And I just want to take this excerpt from the article, and it's talks about, like I said before, white supremacy. So if you could, I'll be really quick. It says white supremacy precedes the origins of the United States. Every aspect of social interaction, particularly in the 18th and 19th centuries, was dominated by white identity, and white supremacy became an expression of American identity. The father of white supremacy was not a Southerner. It was John H. Van Irvie, a Canadian, who ended up settling in New York City. Van Irvie argued that if no slaves existed, the class-based structure of Europe would have transferred, kept, and developed in the American colonies. But when the African presence, Van Eerie said, the descendants of with the African presence, Van Eerie said, the descendants of white Europeans saw that the difference among white people was virtually insignificant compared to what they perceived as differences between themselves and African Americans. This allowed democracy, which was an unpopular idea in the 17th and 18th century, to flourish and develop. This can also explain why white supremacy has persisted for so long, because it is an identity of oneself in contrast to others, a sort of self-fulfilling, reinforcing thought about one's self-perceived superiority. Even people who oppressed slavery believed that African Americans could never be absorbed by white society. Let me explain something to you, sir. This is a very serious issue going on. And, I don't think that you're not serious about it, but you are spreading disinformation. You are not aware of how white supremacy affects people in a systemic way. You're not even acknowledging that. So how can you combat something you yourself won't acknowledge? I just don't understand that.
Brother Will, you want to respond
to that?
I would just refer everyone to look up the middle passage and look at the history of it. To say that if Yikes would like to debate with me, that could be the fourth debate.
Bro, your plate getting a little too big to be taking on the whole world.
Right,
bro.
and I agree
Well,
with that.
the
And
reason,
I'm not,
if she doesn't want to debate me,
debating. I'm not interested in
I mean,
debating.
Monique, excuse me. If she wants to debate, I would reference her debating Monique. She doesn't have. I think she only has one debate right now. So, I mean,
I'd be open to that.
Yeah,
but that's
Yikes,
fine. But would you
Yikes,
like to
DM
respond
me
to
if
what
you're
she
done the
said?
debate. Hold on, before we go any further. If you're open to that, Yikes, whether Will or verse Monique, DM me. DM me. It's easy work. We can set that up.
Absolutely, Black Alpha. I appreciate you so much for having me on here. Thank you.
Every time. Salute.
All right. Let me drop down Yikes for a second. All right. So, Will, I will honor your request. I will bring Monique back up. So we'll give it a second to rack her up. And whenever she's ready, she may speak. Biden's internet is not working. Still saying connecting. Come on, Biden's internet. Come on, Biden's internet. Must have found out she's MAGA.
I got it, man. I handle that.
They kicked her out. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try it again. Can you bring her up? For some reason, now my thing's not working.
Yeah, I actually approved her, and then she disappeared as soon as I approved her. Hey, but in the meantime, while we waiting, we got to bring Brother Afro, man. We got to bring on Brother Afro.
Let me bring up Afro. Monique, you might have to come out, and come back in. Afro.
Okay, you guys can hear me, right?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
I don't know why it says I'm still a listener. My question was for Brother Will. You came in this debate, and I wasn't in the whole time, but I've been in spaces with you, and you have a very firm opinion that there is really no system of white supremacy, and I've heard you say that, and that black people kind of need to lose the position of there being a white supremacy. The concept of white supremacy does not exist, and you held a very firm opinion, and you have evidence to back that up. So when people bring up certain talking points, or when people bring up case-by-case examples to kind of disprove exactly what you said, like, for instance, the situation I brought up with Muhammad Noor, which I would debate Monique about because her facts were inaccurate. But when people bring up case-by-case examples, side-by-side examples to kind of poke a flaw in your logic, you use, which in debating we would call this an evasion tactic, where you say, well, I personally don't know about that, so I'm going to avoid talking about that. And I've seen you do this multiple times in this debate, where somebody brings up an exact night and day comparison to kind of debunk your narrative, and your only response is, I don't know about that, so I'm going to avoid talking or avoid giving an answer to that. Now, in debates, we call that deflection and evasion tactics. And giving you the benefit of the doubt to say you're not doing that purposefully, I'm going to ask, have you learned something in this space that you didn't know already? Because I've heard you say multiple times that you didn't know about certain things, or you didn't know about a specific case or a specific example. I've heard you say that multiple times. So have you learned something being in this debate?
Hey, Afro. Hey, man. Again, man, I'm happy that you're in here. To answer your question, when Rich and I were debating, there probably was maybe one time when I actually tried to deflect a question, and that was on the basis of me saying, if I answered this, if I say yes right now, it would be, if I acknowledge this right now as a yes answer, then my whole entire argument is invalid. If I answer this as a no answer, then the entire argument is valid. But I understand you all's point. That's why I said that question that he asked, which was not a question that the host asked from the paper, it was a question that he asked me personally what my ideal was on that. And I try to keep everything on the subject of what we were talking about. Now, when the people from the panel came up, in all honesty, a lot of people are coming up asking questions directly to me, which can be expected because this is a FBA B1 room. So you all have FBA B1 followers in here. So everyone typically thinks the same, opposed to coming on a conservative stage. And then Rich would be in the seat that Brother Rich would be in the seat that I am right now. Again, when we talk about white supremacy, I believe that there is a fundamental discrepancy in there. When you all make your points, a lot of the points that you can back up with facts, hey, I will. If it's a fact, then it's a fact. Like if you all would have brought up the claim, like if you all would have used a document that I brought into the debate, which was the Williams letter, and you all wanted to use that to try to prove your point, then we could have had a discussion on that. Because then I could have broke that down.
Okay, but you can't use Willie Lynch when Willie Lynch, half the people say he was real and half the people say he didn't. So that's like that's asinine right there. Saying Willie Lynch is a good person to use.
No. I never said he was a good person. However, and people can
I
say
said saying he's a good person to reference. Saying he's a good person to use. That's what
I'm saying. Okay, I got you. I didn't hear the last part. I should take my advice earlier and listen a little slower. The point that I was making, though, or trying to make, is the fact that when we're having these debates, like earlier, Rich, there was a time where you referenced something that happened in I think it was 1965, and then you use that to compare it to 2022. There's a slew of things that happen in that time gap. So no, you can't compare 2022 to 1965, or you can't even compare 2003 to 2022 because a lot of things have transpired, a lot of things have changed, and that's why I said no, you can't debate on that claim because the times are different. And I think just to give everybody clarity, I'm more than welcome to coming back and debating with Rich more on different topics. But as far as this one goes, I'm going to say that you all did bring a light to a different ideology of white supremacy. Do I think that claim stands? Well, I'll look forward to getting more information from you guys. As of right now, I still stand on my position. Whereas I'm believing when we're talking about Black empowerment, when we're talking about reparations, when we're talking about all these things, I don't believe that that the claim of white supremacy is valid.
I just want appreciate that. I just want to go on record and say I'm firmly against reparations.
We know
Monique. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, when we do the debate with you, you can bring up that point and outline your cause. That's fine with us.
Yeah, we
make sure you DM me, Monique. Make sure, because the world need to hear that. I need to bring on the hitter, Rich. We need to bring it on so we can get that going.
I tried to DM you. I went to your page and didn't give me the option.
No bullshit. I love you, brother. You're not gonna take this one. Thank you, Monique, for saying what you say. I got Marcel on the phone. You can go talk to him. Since you both are within the political spectrum, you can go talk to him and outline why we shouldn't get reparations. Well, the B1, the FBAs should not get reparations. You can talk to him.
I'll do that for you.
I actually agree with that. I think that's a good move. I agree with
I
that.
will I will I will ask them both, either him or I'll get Tamara, and you can explain to them why descendants of American slavery should not get reparations.
And who are they? They somebody I should be concerned with? I'm
Yes,
just
Marcel Dixon and Tamara Shealy Johnson Shealy.
Black Alpha. You gonna have to DM me because you don't have a message button on your profile.
And to answer your question, Monique, they both running for Congress right now, correct? Kid Gravity.
Yes, sir. They're both running for.
Yeah.
Marcel's running for House of Representatives seat to unseat Jim Clyburn, and Tamara's running for the U.S. Senate seat that Raphael Warnock currently holds down here in Georgia.
Hey, we're going to definitely have to set that one up. We're going to do that one live. Monique, I will DM you. Yes, indeed, Will. I will DM you as well so we can get that set up. 4 different ways, 4 parties. We'll definitely get it popping, but you will get a DM from me.
Okay. Now, I am bringing up the company again, and then Cadillac will go, and then Shantae, and then Nino, and then we will end off the space.
Okay, I'd like to just try to get us on conversation and stuff because, I mean, me personally, I feel like it's just getting off topic. But as far as reparations, we are working on that in California currently right now. Maybe it could be a model for other states, but for now, if we can have a bureau that basically represents us in every state, that would be our best bet. And, you know, we just need to keep focused on that. We need to stop letting people come to our spaces and get us off track of what we're speaking about and moving forward. We're trying to set up a model out here in California so that the rest of the states and everyone else that's FBA, B1, or whatever they call themselves, freedmen's, we need to move forward with this. And, you know, and I applaud everybody, even if you're not freedmen or B1 or FBA, for helping us out. We appreciate it. And let's continue on with reparations. That's all I have to say.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So I'm bringing up Cadillac now.
Hey, before you bring up
Go ahead,
Cadillac,
Bill, while I'm doing that.
okay, because I wanted to respond to the company. Or
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the company. Well, that's why in the beginning of the debate, I asked it to be laid out what we were actually going after. That's where Rich said that he was referencing a economic plan from a doctor, and I haven't been able to find that article. So, you know, if you can get your whatever you're working for over to me, I would love to look it over. And there's probably some points in there that you know, I could support, and you know, I'll send you my plan as well. That way we all can, like, my main overall thing was us getting on the same page. So you don't want to have people asking for reparations in California that are different than the reparations that are in Pennsylvania, or different than reparations that are in every other state. So I was trying to do something that's on a wide scale basis where everyone can agree.
Well, freedmen's in California, we come from multiple states. You know, let's get that clear. We come from Oklahoma, we come from South Carolina, we come from Texas, we come from Georgia. We all migrated to California. We brought up a proposal that California decided that they were going to go with. Those are the people that stepped up and said, hey, we're going to help you. Sorry, that's my daughter crying in the background. But yeah, we're trying to, you know, we brought up the Freedmen's Bureau, and that it needs to be established so that we have a centralized bureau that basically attends to all our needs. We're trying to put together what that bureau looks like. CT or CJC and Camilla Moore. Camilla Moore, she is the head of the Reparations Task Force here in California. Chris Lodginson, if you follow him, he's also part of the task force. Amend the mass media, they're part of the task force and getting people informed. You can follow them. You can find them on my page on Twitter. I follow them. But basically, we're trying to organize this, get this straight, so that, you know, other states, they can follow our model and get that done. We can't have a centralized bureau that represents the whole United States. We have to have a bureau in each state so that, you know, we keep everything organized.
Right. So what can we do right now to help help that happen?
Well, in California, they're only dealing with people that are residents inside of California. So if you're a freedman and you have residence in California or anything else like that, you could be a part of it. We need everybody to start getting their paperwork. And because this is what they're going to ask for when this comes up. They're going to be asking for paperwork. They're going to need documents. They're not going to go by what you say. They're not going to, you know, any story you come to them with, they're not going to take that for reparations. You have to have documents. I've done this already in my own genealogy.
Hey, the
And
company,
it takes
company.
months.
Hey, company. Hey, you guys DM each other. You guys have that conversation. We're gonna be wrapping this up around 1:00. So you guys DM each other. We appreciate it, but we got to move on to the next people.
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, if you go to my Twitter, it has everybody that I followed,
All right.
retweeted.
Okay, we got you, brother. Yes, indeed. Yeah, get that baby a bottle. Moving on. Bring on the next.
You are up.
Hey, I just wanted to add most and thank y'all for holding the space again, brothers. But most I think they got this space kind of confused that thinking that because we FBA or we black first, you know what I'm saying, that we're not conservative by nature. You know what I'm saying? Most of us have family values. Most of us, you know, we anti-abortion, except in certain cases, you know what I'm saying, or except, you know, whatever it may be. It's a lot of conservative values that we have in this space. We're not no, by and I'm quite sure some Democrats in here, but most of us in this room have moved beyond that. We're looking for tangibles. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it means. And for people who don't understand white supremacy and how it works, or you know how I'm gonna just put it like this: who rules over the banks, right? It's white people. Who rules over farming, right? I'm talking about the majority. It's white people. Who controls manufacturing in this country? It's white people. Who governs the education in this country? Who rules over that? Who sets the strategy of the curriculum? It's white people. Who rules over the law? You see what I'm saying? Who creates most of the laws? You know what I'm saying? It's white people, which is the government, right? Who rules in business? Who controls most of the business and the assets of business? It's white people. Who controls housing? You see what I'm saying? Who got they clause on that? It's white people. You know what I'm saying? The mindset, the social mindset, the media. Who controls that? It's white people. You see what I'm saying? Who controls medicine? Who governs it? Who rules over it? So when we talk about white supremacy, these are the systems, and it's I'm quite sure it's some more that I missed out on, but these are the systems that white supremacy rules, white people and their doctrine, the way they rule over it and control it and have us up under it. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to add. Thank y'all, man, for having me.
Hey, Cat at Black 8, thank you for coming back up. You guys continue to follow the host, Black Alpha Network, Great Guy, Kid Gravity, Queen Alpha. Follow all three of them. But Cat at Black, to ask you a question who puts these people in power? When you look at the government, you have a government that are voted in by we the people. So we the people have the power to change whatever we want. If it's a problem with banking, then we create the banks. So right now we're complaining about a system that we have the power to change, and if you want to change the system, then you take the steps necessary to change it.
Appreciate that. All right, Shantae, you are up. Then Nina will go, and then Black Alpha and I will close down the space.
Okay, I apologize. I was kind of angry a little bit earlier, but I think I might be wrong, but I think someone said that we do not deserve reparations.
Yeah, that was Monique. She's she wants to debate, so we're gonna let her have that. Don't go at her.
I'm
You're
not
not
gonna
up
go
here to
against
defend yourself.
anybody. I just wanna just clarify something. So a person that does not supposed to get reparations, say my grandmother come from down Virgilina, Virginia, to where as though they had like a Black Wall Street in Durham, North Carolina, which was destroyed. Virgilina, Virginia, we had property there. Once my great grandmother had passed away, white people came to the town and burned down her land. When my grandmother was a young lady, they had to go build up their own schools and go through like, and they was from Virginia, go through like the bushes and the swamps and things like that. And then, go get pissed and things. How old is Monique? Is Monique like 90 years old or something? Or she's young?
We shall find out when she comes and debates.
Yeah,
We
because
shall
she
find
just
out.
can't say things like that out her mouth, especially if she never lived it. Like,
You sound like you ready for the debate.
I'm
You want to
really
debate
done.
somebody? DM me.
It's just I have family history and roots to this. So when people say things out their mouth and don't know everything that they're talking about, like my family was actually a part of the first green cab, just rode for only blacks. Y'all remember the green cab, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That started down there in Virginia,
Yes, ma'am.
all the way down to Baltimore and everything. My family was a part of that. My family was also a part of Durham, North Carolina. Where was it? Black Wall Street and everything. Where is this thing that people say that we don't deserve something that was taken and burnt down and given to their family, and then we had to constantly start over and over and over again. And then they say that we don't deserve nothing. Are you sure these are my people that see things like this?
Man, let me know when you're finished and I'll answer that.
Please, I'm done.
All right, I'm gonna put you down in the queue.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate the input,
the passion.
Appreciate that.
I will say this. I've been highlighting this for the past year now. We have a problem in our community with these white conservatives who like to fight with the government, but then always keep us and our fight with them on the back burner until it's convenient. And right now, this reparations talk has gained so much traction thanks to the new black media, thanks to Brother Jason and Professor Black Truth and Tariq and all the voices, young and old, talking about this. Now they see it as views, they see it as clicks, they see it as article hits. So they're going to go against it. Hell, while y'all were talking, I just went and perused Twitter. You got white people that have no business talking about this bringing it up because they somehow think that it's going to come out of their pocket. And we're trying to tell them, no, the government is the number one bad actor on this. This is on them. But again, you know how white people like to attach themselves to something bigger than them. So they think as though they're part of the government because they pay their taxes. So they think they're going to get affected. When we've also had people who have said, we have plans that will not touch an American's money. This will just affect the government, but they don't want to hear that. So then you get these MAGA people, and not saying all of them are bad, but majority of these MAGA people, I'm just going to say it, come from immigrant backgrounds. I'm just going to say it straight up and down. Or they have this misguided, backwards Southern attitude to them that think, hey, Big Daddy government ain't enslaving me, so it ain't that bad. I got money in my pocket, it ain't that bad. So they say things like that, and it confuses people, especially the younger folk, because they don't want fighters saying something to them once they get of age. They don't want the children and the generations coming behind us fighting that fight because they don't want to fight that fight because they think everything is good. So we, like I said, we've got to watch out for them. And that's what the new black media is for. We have to silence their voices. We've done that with Candace Owens. We've done that with Larry Elder, Brandon Tatum. Now we got to get their foot soldiers because their foot soldiers now are going to come outside starting in June, knocking down the reparations talk. We can't have that. We're close. We're so close right now to making Black America somewhat whole again.
Hey, let me chime in on that, brother. Let me chime in on that. That's a good point you made. That's a damn good point. We got to be careful of these Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives who use black people as political pawns, because that's all they see us as. We're only political pawns where they use us against each other. That's it. This has been an old tactic. It was used in the Civil War. The North used black people as a political pawn so they can win the war. As soon as the war was over, they threw them to the wayside. This is what they've always done. So you're starting to see a lot of people come around and murk the water and try to make things difficult for us to see and to understand. These people don't give a damn about our issues. They don't care about our plight. They don't care about our welfare or our advancement. Only thing they truly, truly care about is scoring political points against the other party, because it's a battle of supremacy. It's the overt versus the covert. It's the liberal, the conservative, the red, the blue, the up, down, left, right, north, south. Those are internal battles within the white community. And they always make black people think we have access to the inside, but really they're just using us as political pawns. I seen Ann Coulter come out and say reparations is for black people, it's not for Hispanics. That is just her using us as political pawns. Candace Owens does the same thing. She uses us as political pawns. That's all they care about. So they're going to front, particularly in the election season. They're going to lie. They're going to deceive every way. So people have to understand they're not focused on us at all. And with a lot of black people's infatuation with being considered an ally or inviting white people to the barbecue, they're very susceptible to believing this bullshit. All right. So at the end of the day, as Brother Kid was just saying, keep your eye on the reparations movement. And that's why I say, and I posted a lot of stuff and people seen it on Twitter about these fake reparations panels and these fake people who are calling in. That girl who called into Marcel Dixon's space and try to impute herself into our reparations claim, we aired her out. I purposely did it on my Black Alpha Network channel. Check it out. I did something called Reparations Ops. Reparations ops are these people who are using our reparations claims against us to score political points. And it's like a designated driver. Once we allow these people in, it's like giving your keys to somebody. Once you give your keys to somebody, now you are going wherever they take you. The car could crash or they could take you to a destination that you didn't even want in the first place. So what they want is for us to act like we're giving them our reparations claims, because once we do, now all of a sudden they can water it down and they can give us a happy meal. They can give it to All Lives Matter, or they could take it out of what we want. So they're going to come around and they're going to try to make us think that they're down for our reparations and we should hand over our keys to them. But be very cautious, because once we hand over our keys to reparations, they're going to take us in a place that we don't want. That's the same thing that happened with affirmative action. That's the same thing that's always happened in America. We pass over everything that we're shooting for and we bring in an ally and we let them do the talking. We let them do the negotiation. And all of a sudden we end up with some shit that we didn't even want. So watch out for this. This is why there's immigrants on the panels everywhere. This is why there's dominant society on these panels. And you never see FBAs and you never see B1s on panels for talking about FBA and B1 reparations. How are you having a reparations discussion for foundational Black Americans and there's no foundational Black Americans on the panel? So we have to hold this shit tight. We got to keep it to ourselves. And the reparations claim should not accept any outsiders. Now, speaking of that, that guy, the company, I don't know if anybody heard, he was just talking a minute ago with the baby in the background. Don't believe nothing he said. First off, I noticed he said Freedman, B1, and FBA in third person. That guy is a little fraudulent. My flags came up. I got some DMs from some other brothers who got their flags up. So everything that guy just said, don't even listen to it. I'm not going to have him on our space spewing a bunch of lies and deception. I question if he's even white. Or excuse me, I question if he's Black. I think he's really white. So watch out for that guy. But with that said, I had to let all the fam know, keep your eyes open for people like him who come into our spaces and try to infiltrate us all the way around. Go ahead, kid.
Yes, sir. And we will end it off with a first-time Twitter user, folks. So we have to, if he has a question about Twitter, please answer the questions so we can help this person navigate the cesspool that is Twitter. So, Mr. No Name Nino, you may speak. Sorry, I forgot to add him. See, even I have problems with Twitter sometimes. I'm so sorry about that.
No, hey, it's just getting late. It's past your bedtime, kid.
Shit. Well, I don't have to go to the plantation till a little later today, so I'm good. But brother Nino, I'm glad this is your first time on Twitter. I hope it's been a great experience for you. But we will give you the honor of ending off the space with the last statement. So please go ahead.
I appreciate that, brother. But we could drop the act. This account is suspended. If y'all go try to look at my profile right now, they found me out. So the jig is up. But anyway, y'all made a great point about us being a political football, and it actually leads to my question. But really quickly, before I ask that question, I just wanted to point out, Brother Will, you stated that there was a flaw with Neely Fuller's work, and you didn't really answer the question about what that flaw was. But that's not my question, though. My question is to Will. What do you see would be more beneficial to Black Americans? Do you think being left wing would be more beneficial to us? Right wing would be more beneficial to us, or being black wing would be more beneficial to us? That's my question to Will.
Okay, hey Nino, thank you for coming back up, man. Like I said before, man, I'm happy to get you in here. I know before, you had questions for me, you had comments for me, we weren't able to engage. But now I'm a person who believes that no direct system is going to represent everyone in the community. This is why you need people on the left wing and the right wing to make this whole thing flow smoothly. Because if you are on the right wing, a lot of us are about business or being business owners we have a different mindset than people on the left wing. People on the left wing tend to have more programs. When you have a community, you can't represent the community as only one entity, in my opinion. Now to comment on what you said, that there was a flaw in Dr. Excuse me, man, we've been talking about a lot of nights tonight, but about the gentleman who you all referenced, Nelly Fuller Jr. I never said that there was a flaw in his work. I said that there is a discrepancy that I have. Like, there's something that I don't agree with. I think that he did great work. I listened to him. I listened to a few of his videos. I listened to a few of Tariq Nasheed, the Honorable Tariq Nasheed videos. Again, I just found out about you guys maybe 4 weeks ago. So this is something that is relatively new when I hear some of your claims you guys are making, and you guys are bringing new information that I haven't heard in depth like this before. So thank you guys for that, and hopefully I answered your question.
Yes, sir. And on that note, we will start to wind down. Again, I would like to thank Rich and Brother Will for coming on. I know it's late. They're both on the East Coast time like me, so the bad actors are out right now doing the most. So glad that they're safe. They were able to convey their points. Hopefully everybody got something out of it. This is how you debate, folks. You don't have to yell. Yes, there was a slip of the tongue sometimes, people name calling, barbs thrown back and forth, but by and large, we have shown the dominant society, Black people, especially Black men, because they hate us. We can sit down and have rational conversations. So I appreciate the two brothers for that. We know reparations is a big topic. We, like I said before, keep the fight going. Run the coons and the bootlicks off the block. Run the bed wenches off the block. We all know what MAGA stands for, Make America Grassroots Again. Brother Will, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but ease back on the debating for a while. Your plate too full, unless you plan to take a 2-week vacation because you got the whole room after you. Unless you plan to get everybody, let's do this slowly, progressively. That's just a suggestion for myself to you. Brother Rich, you have passion. Keep that passion going. My one criticism of you, brother, just let people finish before you go in on them. I want to make sure when we record these spaces and put it back up, I don't want people saying to you, hey, that he a little hothead. I don't want that. I want people to be able to convey their points so you can get the full flavor of it, so your answers can be direct. But I appreciate the space. I appreciate Black Alpha letting me run it. And we shall be doing this again, according to Will, because he wants to get the whole world. But
anything you want to add on, Brother Rich?
Yeah.
B1 to everybody. B1 to Black Alpha. Appreciate you guys for always letting me speak. B1 to Kid Gravity, Queen Alpha, Afro Elite. Who else am I missing? Shout out to Antoinette. Shout out to Jeff Will. Shout out to B-Man, Beatzilla. Shout out
free my nigga Nino.
Shout out to
he just got on the platform today and they already got him. Free my man.
Shout out to him. Shout out to the Hard Black Truth. Shout out to Yikes. Shout out to Star XFB. Let me see if I'm missing anybody. Familiar faces. Shout out to Cadillac. Shout out to Racer Bro.
Yo, Rich, are you about to try to break the Guinness World Records for the most shout outs?
Man, listen, I just won the award. and I'm doing my shout outs. I'm on the stage and I'm giving my shout outs. When you win awards, you got to give your shout outs. This is what I'm doing.
I mean, if you just let us know if you're gonna thank the whole squad. I mean, let me know.
You see, guys, I was giving everybody a shout out, but Kid Gravity stopped me. So if I didn't shout you out, it's because let me not forget Nikki. Her ass gonna DM me, and you didn't shout me out. Shout out to Nikki. Let me see if I'm missing anybody. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. B1 to everybody.
Shit, hey, let me get some shout outs in. Let me slide in real quick. Okay, shout out to you, Brother Rich, Kid Gravity, Brother Afro Elite, Beatzilla, Nikki, Yikes, all across the board. Will, shout out to you for coming through, brother, because we go in spaces as well, and people try to team up on us and they try to mute us and all that. That don't happen on this side, man. We let everybody speak, and it's all love. Make sure you guys subscribe to all the new Black media channels. Brother Zilla is thorough. Afro Elite is thorough. Kid Gravity is thorough. Follow everybody on here. Black Alpha Network. I'm crazy as hell, but I'm thorough. Make sure you follow me as well. Shout out to everybody. Go ahead, brother.
One more shout out. My bad. I forgot to shout out Will. Shout out to Will. I appreciate you for extending the hand and having this debate with me. It's all respect, all love. Like I said, I'm a pastor and I'm here to baptize you in Black empowerment, and look forward to speaking to you in the future. Black first.
Oh, my man Freeway in here too, and Cool Keezy. Shout out to both of y'all. Queen Alpha, you talking next time. I'm gonna pull you up on here. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, hold on. Whoa. Go ahead, add more. Don't stop.
I don't have more. I love this space. I appreciate everybody keeping it cool and being articulate. I love it. And that's all B1.
There we go, y'all. There's nothing else. I can't follow
This man woke her up to say that. Come on, so you ain't right.
Hey, man, I'm a Leo, baby. You know. All right, everybody. One love. DM me if you want to debate. I already got like 5 DMs, so we locked and loaded and everything. So I guess it's going to be a hot summer, and we're going to bring it. Black Alpha Network debates. Kid Gravity recap. Don't forget, slide to his page. We're going to do a whole recap tomorrow. Will, Rich, support y'all, brother.
It's in